it iPhone time?
Yes, it is.
It's iPhone time. Good morning. Welcome to the Leavenworth Board of County Commissioners meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I believe today, Jeff, you prayed last time, so it's Jeff. Time to lead us in a moment of prayer or silent prayer.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to take a moment of silent prayer, please. Thank you very much.
So, roll call. Culberson.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
I'm here. Mr. Dove. Here. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Welcome. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. It's so good to see a good full house. Everybody's concerned about public policy issues here in Leavenworth County and, of course, in our state and our nation. We will give you an opportunity now for public comment. 5 minutes before the meeting, please give your address and your name. And then at the end of the meeting, if you wish, you can stay around and give more public comment if you want to stay through the whole meeting. So at this time, I'll invite folks to come up for public comment. Who would like to come first? Good morning. No hat today.
No. Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak. Brian Morley, 23947 Chieftain Road. I do have to address last week, Mr. Dove, I think you said you wanted written kind of a synopsis of what we were going to say so that there was proof and
not that there's proof, that there's evidence that we can go back and check for ourselves.
Well, I feel like our group, the Citizens Against Bluestone, has given you guys very detailed EMFs, pollution, all the many aspects. You guys have had that. You have it in your hands. Have you read all these things? I mean, I feel like we should have maybe a question and answer time where we can say to you, Mr. Dove, could you explain to us the dangers of EMFs so that we know that you have read all our information. And this is a science-based group. I do have to also say the whole glue stem glossy pamphlets that you guys have been waving around. And by the way, it says that you, Mike Steedman, are the ones who spread the pamphlet idea. I'm like, Mike didn't do that. It's like when you
I was spreading the
relief. That you were the one who was doing it. I was like, well, that's funny. But the whole thing is, Aaron is just a salesman. This is a real estate guy. This is not a guy that is dealing at all with the science of what this all is. He's just a salesman. And so the glossy pamphlet that you're like, well, it says right here, it's a closed-loop system, which, of course, does not exist, has never existed. This is a huge guinea pig situation. That glossy little pamphlet is just like when you're at a car dealership, literally just like that. The undercoating is so great. You've got to do the undercoating. Okay, let's do that too. Let's get this thing up here. And the money that you're all snapping at the bit, my God, the maintenance of this whole project is going to gobble up so much more than that. We're going to actually be in a deficit. You're not going to have extra money. You're going to have less money. Guess who the problem is? It's all higher ups, great, from Senate Bill 98. Well, we're not there. You are here in front of us. You guys are the stopgap. You need to do the real stuff. You need to read the stuff that we have given you. And I really mean, I think we should have a round table where we can say, it's like, Vanessa, please tell us what is going to happen to the e-waste. From all the things that you've researched, because we've given you stuff, do you know what e-waste is? I wasn't aware of it. E-waste is all the stuff from any cell phone, anything that deals with the internet has chemicals in it that have to be dealt with. Well, this thing is like Disneyland packaged in chemicals. We had one of our constituents go up to one of these facilities, not as big as this because they don't exist yet. No one's had one this big. And they asked, what about the e-waste? Well, guess what? Cloverleaf didn't have an answer. You know why? Cloverleaf is not the company. He's just a broker. That's it. They have no answers. So they don't know what's going to happen to the e-waste. Is it dumped in a landfill? Which that turns us into like Laos or some East Asian country that's being poisoned. That's what happens. It's like we don't have any answers. And they're just saying, carte blanche, gosh, we're going to make this so good for your community. It's like, I haven't seen any of that. But the glossy stuff, you've got to like throw that crap away. That is not real. The information that our group has given you, it is real. Fine, let's hire a total independent person, take that same information and say, look, this is really dangerous. You're talking about your children's brains, developing embryos, livestock damage, wildlife damage, lack of insects that pollinate. It's like, it's no joke, guys. It's just like huge. It's like no one here is realizing how big this is. If it's using the energy for Wichita and Topeka combined, or the country of Finland in one day, do you know that kind of radiation coming off this electricity? It's not just, it's so much bigger than anyone in this room can conceive in their brain because it's too big. It's too big in scale for a town. We don't want this thing it's absolutely a monstrosity, and it's a affront to nature, honestly. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. Further public comment? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Schmidt. My address is 17322 Golden Road. I live in the Lenape Drainage District, and I am on that board. 3 members make up our board, including a president, vice president, and a secretary-treasurer. They must be owners of land within the district and reside in Leavenworth County. We are required to meet once a year, and the meeting is open to the public. This meeting is published along with our annual budget. Approximately 34 parcels of land are included within our boundaries. As our tax base is limited, so is our distribution from the county. We ensure the drainage channels and berms are mowed and or sprayed yearly, along with inspection of the levees and the floodgate. Payments of these services, along with the budget publication, eats up over half of our yearly funds. In 2020, after saving for over 15 years, an extensive project was completed to remove debris from the levee system. Our entity is doing exactly what we are established to do, maintaining these systems to ensure their continued stability and function. Since 2019, with the original SUP application from Kaw Valley, Lenape Drainage District has asked many times to allow our engineer to review any supporting technical studies related to this project. We have been ignored each and every time. A letter was sent requesting this on March 23rd, 2026. This is what it looked like. Recipients were Leavenworth County staff, Deputy Director, Director of Planning and Zoning Board members, and the County Commissioners. This letter was also included in the public packet prepared for the upcoming Planning and Zoning meeting on May 13th. No communication was received from anyone. On May 13th, hours before the Planning and Zoning meeting, Kaw Valley's council called our engineer to inquire about our duties. Our concerns were not mentioned or addressed. Lenape Drainage District is organized under KSA Chapter 24, Article 4. I have all the statutes here. If you want to see any of them, there's hundreds.
Stacy, can you provide, after this is over, can you provide that to the board?
There's one specifically related to the powers of drainage districts.
And have you provided that to our council?
I will.
Up to this point, you haven't.
We have statutory authority and responsibility related to natural water courses, drainage channels, levees and associated facilities within its boundaries, including activities that may affect their integrity. I have been in contact with Terry Medley, the Water Structures Program Manager at the Division of Water Resources from KDA, about our continued frustration of being disregarded. State permits issued have the language, the project must meet the floodplain management requirements of the community. I believe that Lenape Drainage District is part of that community. Mr. Medley explained that the county is considered the community of this statement, and we should address the Leavenworth County Floodplain Administrator. So once again, we respectfully ask and request to be included in this application process. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question. Who is the Leavenworth County Floodplain Administrator?
Planning.
John Jacobson.
Planning.
So he's planning.
Okay.
Into Title II.
So he carries that hat too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was GIS director, and I switched it to planning zoning director.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Ben Morgan, 12548 158th Street in Linwood. Thanks again for an opportunity to speak. Over the past several meetings, concerns have been raised regarding three primary aspects of the proposed quarry: domestic well water, respirable silica exposure, and increased truck traffic. I have also provided additional technical information to ensure these concerns are clearly grounded in established science and real-world experience. Before continuing, I want to be clear about something. Again, I am not opposed to new businesses or economic development in the community. Growth is important, and responsible projects can provide real benefits. However, development that places the safety, health, and basic resources of nearby residents at risk cannot be supported, and that distinction matters. Regarding groundwater, this is not a theoretical issue. Excavation below the water table in a connected sandy aquifer system can alter groundwater flow, reduce available head, and impact nearby wells, even without active pumping. In this area, where residents rely entirely on private wells and have no access to municipal water, any loss of reliability is significant and may not be reversible. With respirable silica, the risk is even more difficult to control. While standard mitigation measures like water spraying, enclosures, and dust monitoring may be presented as solutions, they do not address the core issue. The particles of greatest concern are extremely fine, remain airborne, and can move beyond the site under normal conditions. In an open quarry setting, there is no practical way to guarantee that nearby residents will not be exposed over time. Many impacts are irreversible and incurable. Concerns about truck traffic has also been raised repeatedly. The impact on safety, road conditions, and daily life. And these are not isolated issues. They directly affect the people who live here. This project has also been presented as an opportunity for additional business development and increased revenue for the county. However, the reality of this location being within a floodway significantly limits the type of businesses that can realistically operate in this area. In practice, the most likely future use is similar extractive operations, such as additional quarries. That means the same impacts I just mentioned, groundwater concerns, airborne silica exposure, and increased truck traffic, would not only remain, but could compound over time. Taken together, these impacts are predictable and unavoidable consequences of this type of operation in this location. As this application is considered, there is a responsibility to place the safety and well-being of residents first. Authority exists not only to approve projects, but to ensure that they do not create unacceptable risk. Where those risks cannot be reliably prevented, the responsible course is not to approve the project. When foreseeable risks to public health and basic resources have been clearly identified, Approving a project without ensuring those risks can be prevented may also create long-term consequences, including potential liability. This is why the requirement must be protection, not assumptions. This is not a situation where uncertainty can be accepted lightly. The issues at hand involve long-term water reliability, long-term health exposure, and the safety of the surrounding community. If it cannot be confidently demonstrated that residents will be protected, moving forward cannot be justified. If we approve this, knowing these risks exist and cannot be prevented, regardless of any benefit received by the county, we are accepting responsibility for the consequences that follow. For those reasons, I respectfully ask that the sand quarry application be denied. Thank you for your attention and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Further public comment? Morning.
Not very much information, but
Thank you. I grabbed two. Okay.
thank you.
My name is Judy Iva Smith. I'm from 905 Church Street, Tonganoxie. I'm not going to remark about the negative impact the data center could have on our lives with information. I'm going to take my time to address this on my personal experience as a lifelong citizen of Tonganoxie. I was raised 5 miles east of Tonganoxie on a homestead that was established in 1861 before the town was formed and is still occupied by my family. One of the large barns on this property has no metal nails and it's constructed with wooden pegs and still proudly solidly stands. The homestead has 2 large hand-dug wells with the deepest at 40 feet and was a huge accomplishment because neither of them has ever went dry. I remember when the Tyson I-70 exchange was proposed and eventually passed and opened in 2009. At the time it was a big controversy. Mainly because many of the citizens of Tonganoxie were concerned it would bring large companies who would have direct access to the interstate and destroy our hometown lifestyle, safety, and health. This is the second company that has brought these concerns back to life for our citizens. Tyson Foods attempted to enter Tonganoxie in September of 2017. Following massive local pushback, including protesting residents, the Leavenworth County Commissioners rescinded the bonds and the company dropped the project. I remember going door to door to get signatures to voice our concerns. My older brother told me, "You will never stop this." And my response was, "We definitely will not if we don't try." We did stop the Tyson project, and all the benefits that were proposed that it would provide have never been missed. Once again, here we are trying to save our small town from a possible future that could have a negative effect on our community. History is the best indicator for the outcome of the future. So I ask, please don't be blinded by a possible financial promise that could be a detriment to our community. Because who will say 10 years from now, wow, we missed out on that money? I have never heard anyone that reflects on the Tyson and Tonganoxie project to state that. You are elected to represent the citizens of Leavenworth County, and I pray you are following the lead of your predecessors and are listening to us. Never forget the majority of us just want a safe, healthy hometown community because that is why we chose Tonganoxie, the town of Tonganoxie, to hang our hat. Progress can be good and should always be approached with open eyes and apprehensions, as the results are truly unknown no matter how informed you think you are. I think I have some time left, so I'm going to comment on some information that is concerning. The area of energy around electric lines is called an electric magnetic field, EMF. This invisible area of energy is often referred to as radiation. Some studies show that the link between the EMF field has an increased risk for childhood leukemia. My little brother is a master electrician for a large company and has actually wired 3 much smaller data centers than the one proposed. In 2019, he was diagnosed with childhood leukemia, which is rare in adults, and we have no family history of cancer. I am happy to say he has rang the bell, but it was hard and a horrific fight. He is an extremely strong man. He endured and won and has lingering health issues because of this disease. These electric lines are so powerful that you can hold a fluorescent light under them, and the EMF will light the bulb with no direct electric contact. This is absolutely, totally true and unbelievable to me. Many people are aware of this health concern and don't want to be around these power sources, which is noted in lower housing prices close to where this exists. The more powerful the lines, the bigger the EMF field. EMF fields also affect animals, including their migration. There are so many factors to be concerned about with this large data center, but this is one I know I don't want to pull my welcome mat out for. I have heard that many of our constituents want to voice their concerns and cannot because of their work schedule. I implore you to adjust your work hours so these people can participate in this platform with an evening meeting. God bless you and guide you in your decisions for the goodness of humanity, our environment, and our small town community, because that is what your actions actually entail. Thank you for your open ears.
Thank you so much for coming. Further public comment?
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Hack. I'm the Executive Director for Leavenworth County Development Corporation. I live at 23028 227th Street. I'm here today to speak in support of the economic impact of the Kaw Valley Company's project. And I just wanted to tell you that, remind you, as we've said many times before, that currently our tax base is not balanced. We've got about more than 80% of our taxes are paid by residents, whereas only 20% is paid by industrial and commercial businesses. And a healthy community is more like 70-30, and we need to work on that. This is an opportunity to do that. This company, the existing property is zoned for this type of business. It is, this project, if it were approved, would bring the taxes up. It would generate more taxes. So currently, it's generating about $10,000 a year. And if this project were to come to fruition, it would generate about $60,000 a year in property taxes. It would also initially bring 15 jobs and potentially more as they grow and potentially think about moving operations to that facility. This would open up other possibilities. So I just want you to consider the economic impact of the property taxes generated from this project and the jobs that further produce economic impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Just have a question for you.
Yes.
Your organization is primarily funded with taxpayer money, correct?
Well, yes, the Port Authority, which is funded by the county before, used to be funded by the county. It does come through from there. And we have 3 cities that provide income, as well as about 70 private investors.
So the vast bulk of your money for your organization comes from the taxpayer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Morning.
Hello, I'm Kerry Holton. I live at 17312 206th Street, Tonganoxie, Kansas.
Morning. Welcome.
Lifelong resident there. Well, other than they say I resided in Providence Hospital for 3 days in 1953 after I was born, but the remainder I've been right there. So, lifer, we'll go with that. But recently we had a piece of info stuck in the door jamb at the old farmstead. They want to put a power line through a quarter section that we own. They want a 35-acre easement, and would have liked to have gotten a signature, which they did not get. Well, where's this power line going to be on this quarter section? I don't know. And some of the proponents of this, the Cloverleafs, the whatever, they don't know. And I'm sure the city council of Tonganoxie does not know. And I'm positive that none of you folks know. And that is, that's an irritation that's hard to describe. And there's 3 other property owners who got the same deal. But they skipped one, and none of us can figure out why. But if this does come through, I'm sure he'll be tagged as well. But what really has got my attention of late was the weather here 10 days ago or so. Tonganoxie Creek turned into a lake across the north end of our farm for about 30 hours, which it does, can do, will do many times in the future. Might do it later this week. We don't know. But I've heard that this monstrosity that they want to grace our community with, they're saying, well, your water usage is going to be, or our water usage will be on the low end, as this is a closed system. Well, I don't know a damn thing about a closed system other than things I've heard, and I've yet to hear anything good. There was an example of one, don't know how big it was, but it was in Loudoun County, Virginia, of a closed system. Well, they said they have to, for lack of a better way of putting it, flush the toilet occasionally. How often, I do not know. But it has to be done. And that facility was connected to a municipal sewer system. And I hear that that's what this one wants. They want an umbilical to the Tonganoxie sewer plant. Well, the Tonganoxie sewer plant's discharge water, supposedly clean, goes into Tonganoxie Creek. That goes right across the north end of our farm for 3/4 of a mile and sits there. What's in the water? Now, that example I was talking about in Loudoun County, Virginia, that municipal sewer system did not get that crap out of the water. It wasn't designed for that. One of the ingredients in the magic potion was chromium. And that sounded kind of, well, damn, maybe I better ask some more questions. Who knows what's in the water? I'm not picking on you guys. Really, I'm not. Because I'm sure you don't. But there's people out there that do. Now, is that information going to be made available to the public? Or is it going to be a trade secret that it's patented information or whatever verbiage I'm trying to come up with at the moment, and it's protected? Now, that's bullshit. And I will not apologize for that. That's just how it is. Now, Riley County was on the WWW News this morning. Their county wants to, big tech wants to make them a present of one of their monstrosities. Well, they enacted a 6-month moratorium, and we're not budging until we get answers and facts and environmental impacts studies are done. They're not moving. So y'all need to keep the brakes on this thing. They ain't going anywhere. Get some answers. Because if you get PFAS, forever chemicals, in that ground, it's just done. That's happened in other areas with sludge from municipal plants that, well, this is free fertilizer. Okay, put it on. Well, that ground is contaminated. The people that own it had a dairy operation and a beef operation. They ate what they produced and raised. They're full of it. And there ain't no unringing that bell.
Thank you,
the
sir.
land is full of it. So take some time and get answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Further public comment. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ted Grinner, 15991 238th Street, Tonganoxie. This morning, I'm going to try to keep on task. If only half of what they say is true, or, what about our bees? Are we going to have the bees around with the EMFs, the high power lines going across the ground, messing up fertility for the crops? I grow my sunflowers. Everybody comes out and takes pictures. It would be a terrible. I don't make a great amount of money with the sunflowers, but man, I put a lot of smiles on people's faces. And if we don't have the sunflowers, people aren't going to come out and take pictures. And if we don't have the bees, we won't have the sunflowers. We won't have beans. We won't have some corn. We will lose all the farming on that end of the county. Now, you may not care about southern Leavenworth County. I hope you do, because there's a lot of people down there that really enjoy our quiet life. We went to the meeting the other night at the city council, and we walked outside, and we're all talking. And I said, all right, be quiet. We all stood there, and we listened to nature. There was no hum. There was maybe a car went by, but you could hear birds and crickets, and it was so peaceful in the middle of town. Now, if we have this monstrosity out there, all we're going to hear is a hum, and it's not pleasant. I came back from college to be on the farm. Yes, I work around loud equipment, but man, it is nice when I shut that off and it's quiet. I don't enjoy being around loud equipment, and I don't like being around it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's nice when I shut it off, and it's nice to be able to have control of that. Like you said, the tourism from the people coming down for the sunflowers, they'll be gone. That little bit of, I don't know how much we bring in, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that come down for the sunflowers. And I want to keep doing it. It's fun to meet people from all over the world. It really is. I enjoy it. But this also, with the power lines, they'll have to build a whole nother energy center. It won't be just this building that you're building. You got to build another energy center, which I think they're trying to get you to go through with that, or somewhere close by. Do we need that much? Do we need that power? Do we need to hear the engines run whenever it's offline? I mean, not offline, but we don't have enough power to run the emergency engines. What is it, 60 gas-powered generators? Do you want to hear that? If you wouldn't want it in your backyard, don't put it in mine. It is so frustrating that we have to come up here and beg you to not let this come in. I am so frustrated. Luckily, I'm done planting. Otherwise, I'd be in the middle of plant season still. I had to come up here several times. It put me back 2 weeks by being here to talk about this. I lost money, and I'm going to lose money whenever if this goes in. It will put me out of business. It will bankrupt several farmers because they won't be able to raise the crops that they need to make a living. If you like your food, which I think we all ate this morning, we need our bees. We need our soldier beetles. We need the crops to be pollinated for the birds you want to watch. If we don't have the bees, we don't have the birds. We don't have all the things that come down to that. And when you're sitting here and yawning and thinking that nobody cares, nobody's watching you, we are all watching you. This is so important to our livelihoods. We don't need this thing. And I hope you can see that. We don't need the money. The money is a drop in the bucket for what it will do to everybody's health. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
A little bit off, but could you tell us when the dates are that the sunflowers are out and when people could come?
Well, I normally plant them in July, and they'll be blooming around Labor Day, and for about 2 weeks. And after that, it's a 2-week window. And there might be a few stragglers, but there won't be very many.
It's phenomenal tourist attraction for southern Leavenworth County, and we're proud of everything you do there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, can I ask him a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Ted.
Sorry?
Commissioner Reed would like to ask you a question.
Just a clarifying question. You said you don't know how much money you bring in, or were you not talking about money? In your presentation you just gave, you said you don't know how much you bring in.
On what?
That was the question.
He was talking about the sunflowers.
About the sunflowers?
Are you talking
I don't know how much money we bring into the county. How
Okay.
many
That's what I thought you
people go to
meant. I just wanted to make
hotels, to restaurants, to gas stations. I'm sure we bring in a lot of people.
Gotcha.
I don't
Thank
have
you.
a count.
But it's not an insignificant number.
No, it is not. They did a 1 year. We talked to the Good Shepherd on Labor Day weekend. They went from the Labor Day before. They did all right. That year, it was a 400% increase over Labor Day. So I think we bring in a few people,
You do.
and they're coming into the southern. They come from all over. I have so many people, so many military people that come down from Leavenworth.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
And that's what we want to keep going in Leavenworth County. Thank
Yes.
you.
So my follow-up question would be, you also said that, if I understood you correctly, don't let me, misquote you, that you, what I'm trying to figure out is how much you're giving back, right? How much money you're making off and what the county gets that. Because if you're bringing in that much tourism, then it's also using roads and things like that. So I don't want to ask you personal questions about your business here if it's in an appropriate setting, but I think while we're having this discussion, if you would like to contribute, I would just welcome that.
I don't know how much the people put into the community. We put a lot back into our community. We have scholarships with my dad's name on it. We help the community. Yeah, we're not coming up to Leavenworth, but we are helping southern Leavenworth County.
Yep. And you pay plenty of taxes.
And we pay
That's what I
ungodly
was
amount of
getting
taxes.
at, yeah.
Yeah.
We farm a lot of ground, and we pay thousands and thousands of dollars in taxes.
So the money that is, if I remember, because I've been there a couple times, they can make donations when they come and see the sunflowers.
Yes, again.
So is that money reported?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Additional public comment.
Good morning. My name is Jeannie Garys, and I live at 15115 Loring Road, Bonner Springs, Kansas, in Leavenworth County. I want you to know how strongly opposed I am to this proposed industrial sand pit. I moved to Leavenworth County from Johnson County 26 years ago for quiet, peaceful, rural community atmosphere. The sand pit will be a disaster to our quality of life. Since we've lived on Loring Road, there are no truck signs on both ends of our road. And there's a reason for this. Our roads in the entire area are barely maintained now, well enough to sustain the traffic we currently have. It'll be a nightmare when 130-ton plus dump trucks are using these roads daily, not to mention the terrible shape the railroad tracks are in now. I own a Jeep Wrangler and have come to a complete stop to have to roll over the tracks to keep going. And it's worse in my other car. They're in constant repair and should be redone every 3 to 6 months, and that's just with normal car and truck traffic. They're not repaired in a timely fashion now. I've also waited over an hour or longer for a train. Can you imagine how bad it will be with all these dump trucks lined up? We have a lot of motorcycle and bicycle traffic as well as other special events that use the roads in our area. I'm very concerned about the safety of these individuals from the limited sight in the trucks and the sand and dust all over the road, along with the safety of the people that live very close to the road along the proposed route. While this area sand pit is being proposed and zoned industrial, the entire area around it is not. Since I've lived out here, my taxes have gone up 314%, and I'm happy to pay them for the value I feel I'm receiving with the peace and quiet that comes from rural living. I also look around and see all the new construction of more beautiful homes for the people that want to experience the same lifestyle. I'm not opposed to tax revenue generating activities for our county. This is just not the fit for this area. It would be lovely if it was a nursery, greenhouse, or any other kind of business with normal and customary car and truck traffic. There's a reason why Johnson County is refusing access to the road and bridge across going to the south. They don't want this nightmare either. I've listened to the proposed lake that Caw Valley will provide once the sand dredging is complete, and it sounds lovely. This is the kind of lovely that currently exists that we all have come to enjoy. I'm begging you to please listen to the voices of your constituents and deny this special use permit for the safety and enjoyment of this beautiful area of Leavenworth County. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming up. Further public comment. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Rick Frederick. I am a Leavenworth County resident. My address is 15225 161st Street. That's Bonner Springs, Kansas. I'm actually about 4 miles west of Bonner Springs, just off of 32 Highway. I'm also a member of the Bear Lake Homes Association Board, and on behalf of that board, I'd like to formally express our strong objection to the Caw Valley Sand Quarry Special Use Request.
Rick, are you speaking on behalf of the
Yes,
Homeowners Association? Okay, thank you.
Yes, and individually too.
Okay.
The proposed primary haul route along K32 Highway is of particular concern to us because Caw Valley's application indicates there could be as many as 120 daily round trips by sand and gravel trucks along the route. Now, shockingly, this calculates to one heavy truck passing each intersection every 2 minutes. Now, even half that volume, one truck every 4 minutes, is alarming to our residents. And please remember, K32 is the primary artery for those of us that live there. And honestly, we all know sand and gravel trucks are the worst kind of heavy truck traffic. So impact on safety, as I understand it, is a common special use permit criterion, and the shoulders on K32 are not wide. By our count, there are no fewer than 95 highway intersection points, streets, roads, personal driveways along the proposed route, including the Linwood Elementary School. And only seven of those intersections have a turn lane taper, meaning westbound vehicles turning south off of K32 sometimes must come to a complete stop, forcing the trailing vehicles to also come to a complete stop to avoid a rear-end collision. And this is not an uncommon occurrence for our Bear Lake residents. And we all know heavy sand and gravel trucks do not stop as quickly as passenger vehicles do. These truck drivers, I'm sure, are good drivers. I drove heavy trucks in college. It wasn't the truck drivers that created the problem. It was the passenger vehicles, just not on anticipating like they need to. So 2 months ago, I contacted the KDOT District 1 office in Bonner Springs, and because I wanted to discuss this traffic safety situation with them, and at that time, I was informed the Commission had contacted KDOT to get its opinion, and maybe you've done so. If you haven't, I wish you would, because the representative I spoke to, Ryan Barrett, was honestly surprised by the volume of heavy traffic that was being proposed. And he acknowledged that our getting rear-ended concern was legitimate. However, Ryan said he had an even greater concern. And he said because it takes longer for these heavy trucks to get up to speed, and passenger car drivers don't want to drive behind gravel trucks, he felt like these, it's very common for passenger car drivers to end up taking aggressive passing chances that they wouldn't otherwise take on this road. So, the question really is, will the safety and well-being of Leavenworth County residents be impacted? I would also ask the Commission, we would also ask the Commission to take a hard look at whether or not there really is an economic benefit to the county and its residents. From our vantage point, approval of stuff wouldn't provide any measurable increase in countywide employment. And yes, the county would realize increased tax revenues by way of an industrial versus ag use assessment, probably some tonnage royalty, but some of those revenues are going to easily be offset by increased road maintenance. And most importantly, I would add that I think the county could end up actually losing revenue, with all due respect to Ms. Hack. I think that the county could end up losing revenue by the negative impact quarrying on this traffic could have on not only property values in the area, I'm almost done, and including the potential of shutting down future planned development along the area. I spent 25 years as a CFO. I've evaluated many business plans and rejected more than we accepted. I'm pro-business. But it's not, and I don't think it's far-fetched here to suggest that this could be a classic case of subtraction by addition. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Frederick. I appreciate you coming and traveling all this way to be here.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Mr. Crowder, would you supply us with your testimony, please?
I'm sorry?
If you'd like a copy.
Would you give us a copy of that?
I'll be happy to. I actually have one here for you.
I appreciate it.
If you could provide it to Becky, she can make copies for all the commissioners.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further public comment. And I will tell you, my intention is at 10 o'clock, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
My name is Cindy Reeves. I live at 18738 Golden Road, Linwood, Kansas. I'm here to speak about the sand pit. I own a home right on the corner of Golden Road with the truck route going through. Purchased it 16 years ago. Lived in Leavenworth County at Circoxie Lake since I was born, so 49 years. My parents bought that property in the 60s. I teach in the district, so the trucks will be going by the school that I'll be teaching art at this year. I have a lot of road concerns. So where I live, that house has been there since the 1890s. It's been farmland. I don't like to bet. It was a pretty secure purchase for us. I'd wanted it since I was a kid. When we were able to purchase it, we purchased it. There's the road, which is not very safe, but there are a lot of cars who go on to go to work to catch 10 highway. You have a ton of bicyclists that come out. Motorcyclists ride there. Old cars come through because it's a really beautiful ride. The road has always been marked not for big trucks. It's quiet. We have eagles that come in the wintertime. It's beautiful out there. It is peaceful. It is quiet. And it's farmland. And so the thought of having a huge truck come through every 2 minutes right in front of my property, when I'm outside in the summertime, I teach, I would be outside gardening right now. And the thought of that happening the next 25 years, excuse me, I'm nervous, but it's just, it keeps me up at night. Like, I think about it all the time. We just purchased a couple extra acres last year so we wouldn't have houses being built right up around us because we wanted that. That's why we moved out there. I worry about my well water. I worry about the trucks going by. I worry about my property value, but I never wanted to sell it. We sold the family farm so we could buy extra acreage. This isn't a small thing for me. Like, I'm second generation living in this area. My kids want to live in this area. It's beautiful. property values out there for farmland. It was like 20-some thousand an acre just to buy it. That's crazy, but it's also awesome because you have people coming out here to live. The number of people building on 2 acres and investing their time and their money and their worth into that is very valuable. And in the time I've been here, 32 Highway has grown immensely, and those houses are gorgeous. And some of them are going for $1.2 million on 2 acres. And in my mind, especially being a teacher, that's what we want. We want people coming out here. I have friends and family that come from out of town, and they're like, this is a beautiful place to build. I have friends who want to purchase land out here. But now I find myself saying, well, that house that's selling up there, I think you would really love it. However, there may be a truck coming by every 2 minutes in the next 3 years. And you only have to worry about it for the next 30 years. I'll be dead by then. And who's going to want to buy that land? Who's going to want to build out there when you have that many trucks coming through? I worry about my school kids. I worry about my own children driving on those roads because 32 Highway, either way you go on 32, you have horrible corners. I've mentioned at some of the other meetings that Life Flight lands right out in front of my house. We've had several motorcycle accidents, and one was last year was a fatality on that corner that comes around the bend. Life Flight lands on the road on Golden, and they come out, they get the people, and they drive them back. It's not a safe road. The corner on 32, I have known quite a few people actually who died on that corner. And you were talking about speeds, and since I drive it every day, when you go from around that corner onto 32, if big trucks are coming in, being an old farm kid, you know you don't go up to the corner before you turn. You wait back so those trucks can make the swing. And we don't have any trucks like that. The ones we do have are a grain truck, and that's when you have people cutting. It's not all the time. It's one of those things that it makes me mad. It really does. It's one of those things where you have this beautiful country and people who want to come, and they're moving here now, and they're investing. And I know we're out at the far end of the county, but I wish people would come out and drive it. It is a beautiful area. And when the trucks come in, and I think about that ride through Edwardsville, which I've taken a bunch of times on the old 32, like, it's not beautiful there. I'm sorry, it's not. It's industrial. That's not what this is right now. It's farmland, and it's a good place for people to move. And you have a lot of people coming from like Johnson County and those places that are investing. And I think in the long run, you'll get more money that way and be a lot safer, healthier, and happier. Thank you.
Thank you for coming up. Further public comment? Good morning, Nancy.
Can you tell I've been here before? Good morning. Nancy Carpenter, 14681 Carter Road, Bonner Spring, Kansas. It seems that everyone comes to a point in their lives when they are no longer willing or able to continue their chosen profession. So it's understandable when a farmer no longer wants to farm the land they own, they look at options. Their land is likely a huge part of their overall wealth portfolio, so leasing or selling their land might be one of those options. That seems to be the case with the parcels Kaw Valley wants to dredge. One landowner chose the leasing option and now lives in Albert Lea, Minnesota, far from southern Leavenworth County, Kansas. It appears to be an engaged community, which, according to their website, has initiatives to promote healthy choices for their citizens that, among other things, results in a higher quality of life. Sounds grand, and I'm happy that this landowner has found such a place to live. What strikes me is that those of us who still live in southern Leavenworth County already have a stellar quality of life. We have clean water, be it through the rural water districts or private wells. We have clean air, not polluted by a deluge of diesel truck traffic. We have quiet days punctuated by sounds of rural life, trains, children playing, combines, birdsong. We have dark nights, lit only by the moon and the stars above us. We chose Leavenworth County, southern Leavenworth County, as the place to build our lives. The other landowner sold their property to Kaw Valley Companies, LLC. Kaw Valley has shown no respect for any of us who live in southern Leavenworth County. They want the sand. It's on their land. They claim the right to use their property as they see fit. Their response to any mention of the hazards and consequences that a sand dredging, stockpiling, and transporting operation will bring is to either downplay them, as they are irrelevant when outside the magic 1,000-foot neighborhood, or simply toss money to the county. To them, it's damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. If you've done your homework, you have read, heard, and seen evidence of these hazards and consequences. There are the unacceptable noise levels through residentially zoned areas of the county, added to the pollution from excess diesel truck traffic. Then there are irreversible health problems caused by silica dust, an undeniable piece of any sand mining operation. The numerous residents who depend on private water wells with no recourse when the groundwater is compromised are correct to fear the worst. And of course the roads, made more dangerous for commuters, school buses, bikers, emergency response teams, bicyclists, and locals, when overwhelming numbers of heavy trucks are added to the traffic flow. All of the evidence points to this proposed project being a detriment to the health, safety, and general welfare of the people you were elected to serve. If you cast your vote to approve the SUP, you owe an explanation to the citizens of southern Leavenworth County as to why. Instead of reciting the carefully crafted statement in your packet, how about saying this loud and proud? I vote to approve this SUP, despite the evidence presented by citizens and the recommendation to deny the SUP given by the Leavenworth County Planning Commission. My vote for approval shows that I choose to jeopardize the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of southern Leavenworth County in pursuit of the riches promised by Caw Valley. Let me be perfectly clear. The time has come for you to embrace sound reasoning and evidence-based decision-making. It's time for you to deny Caw Valley's SUP.
Further public comment. Welcome. Thank you. My name's Ernie Ricky. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm making sure you can hear the railroad ears and stuff. I live at 23030 243rd Street. I'm going to read kind of the same speech I had at planning and zoning. I'm not up for speeches, but I am here to support the sand pit. The sand pit, we need sand every day in our life. We need sand, hell, at our water departments to filter water so we can drink it. We need sand in our building materials to build our houses that we want to build on these 1.5 acre lots. You got to have sand to do all that. It's a natural commodity. It's in the riverbanks. It's in where rivers were. We have to get it out of the ground and use it if we want to proceed in our neighborhood and living. Our roads, our stadiums, our kids to play, schools. That ground has been zoned industrial, I think, since 1960-something. And it went through this county commission. I don't think none of you are there. Maybe you don't work there, but they had a vision that it was a perfect place to be industrial ground. And now you have industrial ground on the map that you're promoting, but you're going to sell the ground to a person that can't use industrial ground. You're not supporting it. But they did when they passed it 80 years ago or 40, whatever that is, 80 years ago, 90 years ago. And now you tell them they can't do it? I think that's kind of going back on your county's words at one point in time. And then they're going to have the state give you a donation, a grant for $8 million to pave 20,000 feet of roadway that apparently it's not acceptable to none of the neighbors. Bicyclists get wrecks, motorcyclists get wrecks. So they want to come in here and improve your roadway. And they want to add to it $3 or $4 million on top of what the state's going to give you. I live up part of the northern part of the county. I think we struggle for tax dollars in this county for road and bridges. If I listen to your guys' meeting rights about shutting roads down, $11 million you're going to throw out a window for 18,000 feet of roadway. I don't know if you guys own businesses or not, but that's a lot of money to be thrown out when we don't have it coming in. And they're going to stay there and dredge sand for, I hope, for a long time. There's 2 generations sitting over there right now. It's 3 generations, small family business. And that's what we want, business in small families. We don't want big corporations, I guess. They've been fighting this for 8 years. And they've been doing everything we've asked for them to do to change their plan. And now they've changed it and added to it. And you're still going to deny it after 8 years? And they're going to make your roads better and safer for your school buses to travel on with your kids in them? That you're already, as I use the word, negligent about it? You already know your roads are not safe? And they're going to give you money and a state grant. You won't get the state grant if they don't go through it. So, I don't know. You need to improve your county roads. State highways, I don't think you got any authority on, but that's State Department. I'm not an engineer, but I think you guys ought to use the money, and I think they're going to sell sand and give you royalties on every ton per sand they sell for sales tax. Then you're going to get sales tax on the sand they sell, then you're going to sell it to a concrete plant or an asphalt plant within the county, then you're going to sell the product again and get sales tax again on it. That's twice you get sales tax on the same item. But you know you're still going to have trucks down there that come out of Johnson County delivering concrete, bricks, landscape, sod, swing sets, Menards. You're still going to have trucks down there coming through there. And the number of trucks they say that's going to come through there, 140 trucks, 150 trucks. I don't know if you guys have been around a construction site. Do you know how quick it would take to load a truck? You can't load a truck in 2 minutes. You have a round trip in 2 minutes. That's impossible. There's not enough trucks in Kansas City, in Missouri, to make that happen with the operators. It's just not. Some of these facts are just unbelievably spread, and they're wrong. Thank you.
Sir?
Yeah.
And Call Valley has entertained this now that previously we hadn't, but attempting to get like 85% of the tonnage onto rail as an alternative. A lot of aggregate a lot of sand mining operations around the state use rail.
Yeah,
and that's something that I've been pushing, and I think we're maybe moving towards that.
You going to give up another $11 million to put a rail in?
Well,
the county tax
the long-term impact of those trucks on our roads and the safety issues, I think there's a lot of issues, but I just wanted your comment on if we could get it onto the rail.
Well, if you can put a spur in down there, I don't know if the railroad's going to let you put a spur in there.
That's what we've been talking about.
You know what? It'd be funny if they was to pump it across the river and come across the bridge anyway, and you're not getting no sales tax dollars.
So, well, I mean, these are things that we have to consider.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Come on down. Oh, okay. Can we wait to have our break and then you'll be first?
Yes.
Would that be okay? All right, we'll take a 10-minute break, folks. Okay, we will reconvene. And public comment continued. Come on down. Good morning. Thanks for driving up.
Thank you. It's a 30-minute drive. So
it is.
My name is Paula Jaskinia. I live at 13162 158th Street, Bonner Springs, Leavenworth County, very close to the proposed sand pit site. I'd like to address a couple of things that were mentioned by an earlier speaker, first of all, we're not talking about 130 individual trucks. We're talking about 130 trucks coming and going. So throughout the day, it would be not 130 individual trucks, 130 passes. And these numbers are not being clawed out of the middle of the air. They are calculated from numbers provided by Caw Valley themselves. Second of all, we're talking about safety of roads. And he mentioned, getting all of this money to improve these roads so our school buses are safer. And I don't know about you, but when my kids used to ride school buses, I wouldn't want to put them on roads with 130 loaded sand trucks. That is not safe. The reason I'm up here today, and I've talked before, most of you before, is yes, it's very true that the property where the sand pit is proposed is currently zoned industrial. And I suppose it might be one thing if the industrial stayed in the industrial area, but it wouldn't. First of all, the trucks are the biggest thing. Those trucks leave the industrial area and go on what will soon become, if they travel it enough, an industrial road. And the vibrations don't stop at the industrial area. They go into your homes as they pass. They will not be passing every 5 minutes as soon as a train blocks that crossing, and I guarantee it will happen multiple times. You'll have trucks stacked up who will go up the road stacked up and stack up as they turn, while I sit in my house and feel them vibrate. Most of the homes in that area are rural residential zoned, and I think we'll probably have to come up with a new zoning. Perhaps rural residential with an industrial frontage. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Who wants to stand in their home and look out and feel trucks lined up in front of their homes? That doesn't stay in the area. The sand that filters out of those trucks, because it will, as they drive along, does not stop filtering as soon as they leave the industrial area. It goes out on the roads. The lights they will have to install down there will not just stop at the end of the industrial area. They will permeate the night into other areas. The silica sand will not stop at the industrial area. It will go out into the air. Yes, things can be done to try to mitigate it, but mitigate it doesn't stop it from happening. So I want you to consider that maybe that area is zoned industrial, but the area around it, which is much bigger, and people live there. They've created their homes there. They raise their children there. And I guarantee none of them decided to do that with an industrial area passing by their homes every day, 130 times a day. I don't live on what's considered the primary route anymore. It was still an alternate route, and it used to be considered the primary route, but I'm going to tell you right now, I am a realist. And despite what they say, I do not think there's going to be anybody out there policing daily that they follow the primary route. When they're stacked up and running short on time, and closing time's coming, and they're running late because of a train or whatever issue, you're going to take the shortest route to get there so they can get off of work on time. And is anybody out there to make sure that doesn't happen? Do you really think Caw Valley is going to stop that? They want their sand, they want it at their plant so they can keep processing it. So let's be real about that. They're going to go where they go. And we can start calling the sheriff or call the county. Is that going to really get stopped once they're in production? And once you tip that domino, and there's an industrial sand plant down there, the next sand plant that comes in means more trucks. And the one after that means more trucks. Before then, we are really living on industrial, and we only wish we had 130 sand truck passes a day. Is that where you want to live? Please don't make it where I have to live. Or any of these people with the yellow stickers. And there's many more. They can't be here because they have to work for a living.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Additional public comment.
I got visual aids today.
Okay. All right.
We like to have.
That's for the slow learners.
That's for me.
No, it's just because I'm not going to try and beat any kind of drum, I don't think. I just want to put some things in perspective. And what you have in front of you is, it's essentially my take. If I can find my notes again. Okay, there. It's my take on what's going to happen with heat. Now, everybody in here knows you put a hot rock in water, the water gets hot. Heat doesn't just go away. It's not converted into, into mass by Einstein's equations or anything like that. It's still heat. It's still energy. It moves to someplace else. Okay, so data centers have to cool the massive amount of heat that they produce, and that leads us all into the cooling lines and all the, all of the closed loop stuff. And I'm not going to talk about that either. I just want you to look at some things for a reference. This little visual aid here. Now, I won't swear that the numbers are perfect, but they're the best I could do in evaluating the information that's out there, since we have so little about the specifics. And some of it's just straight, calculations with constants. So it wasn't too bad. But what you have to know is that the data centers don't do any work. Nothing moves. So almost every single bit of energy that comes in as wattage gets put out as heat. So if you say you're doing a 1.2 gigawatt center, okay, that's going to be a certain amount of heat. And for reference, I just gave you a few little things. That puppy there, that 40-pound dog, puts out 225 BTUs per hour, British thermal units. That guy sitting there enjoying his beer while he's watching the grill, he's going to put out about 390 BTUs per hour. Now, there's also a traffic jam on there. A mid-sized car idling for an hour will put out about 20,000 BTUs per hour. Your propane grill that's sitting there, the average one is going to be somewhere between 25 and 60,000 BTUs per hour. Propane grill gets pretty hot. Okay. Now, the other one that's on there is just Tonganoxie, and I didn't calculate what Tongi puts out, which it does, it radiates back. I put out the solar energy that gets shone down on the 4 square miles of Tonganoxie. And that, let me check my numbers here, 6,950 million BTUs per hour. 6 billion. That the sun, no wonder they do solar energy, right? It's a lot of energy. But it's over 4 miles, and there's trees and buildings and people warming themselves, and it all kind of dissipates. But concentrated coming out from a 1.2 gigawatt data center, you get 4.1 billion BTUs per hour, and its sun never goes down. It's going to put out that much energy for maximum capacity, I admit, that much energy every hour, 24/7. And that is if they don't use any gas, if they don't use any gas turbines, because those are only 40% efficient. So you have to add extra burning and more, because they waste a whole lot. They put out, 40% efficiency, so you got to kind of multiply what you got there, you'll get another big number out. But the point of all of this really is, just to make you perk up a little bit, every 14 hours it puts out the same amount of heat that the Hiroshima bomb puts out. Okay, so, I mean, it's a big number. Of course, the bomb does it all at once, but 14 hours worth, it's quite a bit. Okay, so the point is that a lot of heat is released. And it's released into the environment, and we don't know the effects. This has been addressed. There's 2 papers that came out this year where they're starting to try and measure what the effect of the heat is. And I can send you references to those, but even though they're still questioning some of the methods, it's 3 to 5 degrees of temperature, degrees Fahrenheit difference from the upside of a data center to the downwind side, because the wind blows the heat.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sorry I didn't get through all of it, but as a teacher, I always had the next day to come back in.
Well, you can stay to the end of the meeting.
No, I'm done.
I will ask you one question.
Yeah.
I understand from information we received that the amount of electricity for a 1.2 gigabyte would be like the city of Wichita and the city of Topeka, that amount of electricity.
900,000.
How much heat? I mean, I just...
cities radiate heat. That was what I was going to get into with this data stuff here. There's something called,
well, we'll get into that next time.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
But anyway, it's not quite... One of them was done only on data centers out in the country, and there's a clear change.
Thank you very much. Further public comment? Welcome.
Greetings, ma'am, gentlemen. Alan Giskinio, 13162 158th Street.
Welcome.
Sand Pit. I've dealt with Caw Valley. Good people. Use them. Don't think their stuff needs to be there for a couple of reasons. You have 3 ways to get into southern Leavenworth County from the south. K7, Wyandotte Street Bridge, which is Johnson County, or Edgerton. I live in a place where I see tons of people coming and stopping at my house. Where can we look for land? They're coming from the south. They're coming from Panasonic and everything else that they're putting over there. Just a bad spot. The only other thing that I have is KDHE says roughly 1,300 feet between a dredge and a water intake. Okay, well, it's a little bit farther, Rural Water District 7 intake down at 142nd, but no one can show that that's not going to affect it. No one's going to show. The things that the people have said about the trucks, about the health, that's beaten. I'm not going to hit on that. It's just not a good thing if you want to draw residential people into the southern end of the county. It would take me 30 minutes to get here. There are people on that end that come to that end that don't even know that this end of the county is here. Everything is geared towards here. We're south of K32. Many, many, many people don't know south of K32. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Further public comment? Come on down. Welcome.
My name is Joel Sipp. I live off of 12421 158th Street in Linwood, Kansas, and I'm speaking in opposition to the pit. My property lies directly adjacent to the property of the proposed pit. All the concerns that have been raised today will directly impact my family of 6. Every year I pull at least, I just wanted to add to some of this stuff. Every year I pull at least 5 to 10 wrecked vehicles out of my field that borders the proposed route. Since I've been there, I have pictures of a lot of them to prove it that I would be happy to email you. I've helped a delivery driver to climb out of a box truck that had the top ripped off of it after tipping off on our road around the corner. I've held a 16-year-old girl's head still while we waited for an ambulance after she lost control and hit a power pole on my property. I helped an 18-year-old kid who lost control and spun into my driveway, taking out the gate on my driveway, narrowly missing the lemonade stand that my kids like to operate during the summer. I pulled motorcycles out of the ditch that hit sand and gravel on the road, provided medical help to riders until EMTs arrived. I have pictures for a lot of these things. Last fall, a school bus was rear-ended by a Sprinter van while dropping off my neighbor's kids who live across the street from me. Thankfully, the kids were mostly just shaken up, but I fear what the result would have been if there had been an 80-ton dump truck instead. It's not a question of if there will be fatal accidents directly related to the change of the type of traffic on this road. It's a question of when and how often. There's much talk about zoning. The zoning of the area as industrial was done after the 1950s flood, which wiped out the residential community that was already there, the town of Lynette. To say that it was zoned industrial because of that was being the only option is not just the easiest option, is foolish. I think it's notable that since the 60s and since the rezoning, no industry has been built there because of farmland and rural community. As a matter of fact, my own property, when I bought it, I had to, at the last minute, find who owned the mineral rights to my property because they were sold. We were able to get the mineral rights back, but there was already a sand pit project that had been proposed for my property that was fought and voted against by the same family that is now currently trying to do a sand pit in their property. I think it's notable that since the 60s, no industry has been built there because it's remained farmland and rural community naturally since the zoning. There's tons of beautiful new houses being built every year in the area as the area has continued to naturally draw people, not industry, to the community, and has done long so before it was zoned industrial and long after. If the zoning is the issue, then rezone it. Thank you for your time. I ask that you please deny the special use permit.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Further public comments? Mr. Baker.
Morning, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to what you do in the county. I got two basic subjects I want to talk about. By the way, West Baker, Strangers Township. Been here for 40 years. Two topics: science and industrial. Industrial is a broad term, and zoning industrial doesn't say, come on in, nuclear power plant, ammunition plant, rocket plant. That didn't mean industrial. Industrial is just a broad term. I hope everybody understands what industrial means and what it may or may not include. It may include anything. You know, you could have a ranch. You could grow tomatoes. That's agriculture. But industrial, you could have a train manufacturing plant there. Industrial doesn't guarantee anything. That's just a broad term. They have to zone it something. They can't zone it trains, ammunition, blah, blah, blah. No, industrial. Just a broad sweep, correct? Is that fair? Okay, enough on industrial. Science. My background, 40 years. Engineering, product development, and science. I'm not a cowboy, believe it or not. So, in my 40 years, I'll cite some examples that I'm qualified to speak to on science and technology terms. I helped develop the heating systems for the Airbus 350 aircraft. That's a big plane. Worldwide usage. Everything is critical on an aircraft. Everything. We went through rigorous testing for years to get qualified, to get on the plane. There was competition. Our days were better. And I worked directly with the engineering staff in England to develop heaters for the Airbus 350. Science, technology, facts, research, not hyperbole, not generalities. No, you can't get that on an airplane. It shouldn't be endured in our lives either. So how does that affect us on this conversation today? Where is the support for the science and technology that these 5 decision makers will use when they're going to make a decision. Are there any engineers on board? Are there any scientists on board? You have support that you will go to for this, the data center, any other technical project that will help you understand the science that affects human life and the environment before you make a decision. Or do you make a decision based on hyperbole, generalities, and whatever else you hear or somebody throws out? Decision making is very important for people because it affects other people. And the Commission's decisions, hopefully, to support these people are based on science and technology and not emotion or politics. Things get misconstrued and all screwed up and confounded in discussions like this. The Cates family should have every opportunity to make as much money as they want to make. I fully support capitalism. Most people in here are probably capitalists. Okay? But industrial doesn't guarantee anybody they can move in with something that's going to sacrifice the environment, cause unrepairable damage to the community, wildlife, farming, and people in that area. That's industrial's general. We want to talk specific. Macro, micro. How do you get on Airbus 350? It ain't up here. It's down here in the science. Asking the right questions. Doing the right research. You don't get a contract for millions of dollars because you just kind of check the boxes and say, oh, I'm going to put an heater on that airplane. So think about it. Science and technology. Get the support you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Further public comment? Last call. All right, we're going to move on. Let's see here. How about the county clerk report? Do we have one today? Then administrative business, Mr. Lawfrey. Okay, Mr. Culberson.
No, nothing today. I don't have anything, Mike.
Okay, couple items. I wanted, since we had a nice crowd, I wanted to read a couple items here. So many times there's negativity about what's happened, what's the county done. So I wanted to read you a few things that the county has accomplished, and I thought it would be important. During a recent Leavenworth County Commission meeting, the board reflected on many positive things that have been accomplished on the commission level during the last few years. Sometimes folks do not realize that real policy has been adopted and real progress has been achieved. Some of the things that the commission has accomplished and done. Open public comment at the beginning of each commission meeting. Citizens are allowed up to 5 minutes to voice their opinions. You've just been experiencing that. YouTube and public access live stream of county commission meetings. That's a new thing. YouTube and public access live stream for county commission work sessions and special meetings, including our budget work sessions. So you can watch the proverbial sausage being made when we're working through the budget. You can watch that on YouTube. More roads paved and hard serviced in the last 6 years that have been completed in the previous 30 years. This includes dust abatement roads and sales tax road projects, including projects on Eisenhower Road, 158th Street, 155th Street, and Baser, Tonganoxie Road, and soon to be completed County Road 30 north to Dempsey, benefiting the north part of the county. The county has also recently focused on helping to get additional hard surface roadways approved in the northern end of the county. Adding approximately $1.2 million in road funding to the public works budgets for each of the last 2 fiscal years. Fiscal conservative approach to the county budget, reducing the mill levy 1.2 mills between 2019 and 2024, even though in 2025, when the county incurred a cost of approximately $5 million for required courthouse roof repairs, the county increased the mill 1.8 to pay for that work over 5 years without requiring any borrowing of money for the repairs. In fiscal year 2026, the county was able to reduce the mill levy by a small, just short of a quarter mill. It's hoped that when the roof repairs are completed, the levy can be further reduced. Increased county wages by over 20% in the last 6 years. Commissioners opposed Governor Kelly's COVID-19 business closures, vaccines, and mask mandates. Special use permit process streamlined. Economic development work, including these roads, the basis for economic development. County commissioners have written letters and testified before committees of the Kansas legislature for a 3% cap on property taxes, including taxes increasing resulting from mere increases in valuations alone. The cap will put an end to the yearly spikes, some in double digits, and it made it difficult for many residents to pay their ballooning tax bills. Property tax task force. During the Linwood tornado, we worked to get relief impacted communities, and were able to get FEMA support for the county for those relief efforts. Testimony in Topeka to get legislation adopted that allows tax exemptions for outbuildings destroyed as the result of the Linwood tornado. Eventually, the legislature adopted it. It took 3 years. Hosting the Boy Scouts to come during the Linwood tornado to clean up during that time. The Leavenworth County Commission hosted meetings and hearings on comprehensive land use plan and implemented changes to that plan. Commissioners adopted a new plan for large economic developments, requiring that studies, applications, road reviews will be paid for by developers and not by the county taxpayers. The new rules allow for greater transparency as developments proceed through the process. The county approved a new commercial and industrial tax abatement policy that outlines requirements for consideration for such abatements. The Commission adopted a cross-access easement policy which outlines the requirements for local subdivisions that want to build their own roads and what the process would be for such roads to be constructed. Commissioners stood up for the community of Easton in their fight to see KDHE enforce environmental laws after a fire at the local landfill in that community. Fire, smoke, and fumes continued to impact the community for years, right up until just about a year ago?
6 months.
6 months ago. Commissioner Steben and Culberson testified in Topeka on that issue. The county voted to become involved with the federal government as a pass-through, voted not to become involved in the federal government as a pass-through for the Federal Immigrant Detention Center. Leavenworth County declared itself to be a non-sanctuary county. Leavenworth approved multiple applications for agricultural, tourism, special use permits to help local farmers to bring their local products to market. Commissioners have supported redirecting some economic development funds to pay for construction of a new industrial park, the resolution adopted by the Commission. The Leavenworth County Commission prohibited commercial wind generators in Leavenworth County. The resolution allows local residents to have personal wind generators. Adopted a parental notification policy for local health department requiring, except for in limited situations, that parents of minors must give permission for provision of health care services, and the resolution also prohibits abortion, counseling, or referrals. Approved funding of the Sparrow Clinic to aid the organization to help young people in crisis pregnancy situations. Established a mental health task force, supported funding for the Guidance Center for Mental Health Services, and established a mental health crisis intervention center at the old Cushing Hospital. Supported adult and juvenile corrections efforts to help repeat criminal activity and help young people turn away from criminal and keep them out of prison, basically. Commissioners worked with federal officials to request Fort Leavenworth provide a payment in lieu of taxes for services that are not compensated to the county. These are just a few of the things that the Commission has accomplished. I think so many times when folks say, Leavenworth County is not open for business or the county gets insulted. And another final thing is 51 special use permits allowing local small businesses, cabinet shops, engine repair facilities, fence builders, mail order businesses, small bakeries, child care facilities, dog grooming, and hairstyling all across the county. These are small businesses bringing in millions and millions of dollars in revenue to the county, but it's small businesses. So these are things we have supported. as a commission, I think it's sometimes I think it's important that we blow our own horn a little bit and let you know the positive things. Mr. Dove.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In lieu of what you just said, that is something that has been going on. I think that goes back to at least eight years of what the commission has done, and I commend the previous commissioners for doing that. However, that was done as a commission board, and I wanted to ask you personally. There was a statement that was made on a Facebook page that is signed by Mike Stevens, chairman of Leavenworth County Commission. And once again, it says, once again, last legally, let's have a debate on the issues. You are not telling the truth. I will agree to have a moderator that you find acceptable as a location of your choice. Let's talk about legislature failure to address property taxes, which should have been taken care of. Let's talk about massive incentives given to billionaires. I won't go on to read the entire thing, but I wanted to point this out, Mr. Chairman, is that this is signed by the chairman of Leavenworth County Commission. Now, I'm going to state here that I don't think that that should have been signed that way, even though you are the chairman. However, it gives the impression that to everyone here and who read this post that Leavenworth County Board of Commissioners go along with this, what's here. I just want to make that statement that this is not something that the Commission has advocated for, and I think that it's going a little bit far in signature of the chairman for the Board of County Commissioners. So I just want to make that point that no one misconstrue that this is something that we have advocated for as a board. We have not had any discussion on this, and that's what I wanted to bring forth to the commission. I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Reed.
So, a couple things. Where to start? Tyson plants bring significant economic and social benefits to their host communities, primarily by acting as major engines for job creation, local tax revenue, and agricultural support. They also invest heavily in local philanthropy, food security, and immigrant workforce integration. Facilities provide thousands of steady, year-round operational and management jobs. This workforce stimulates the local economy by supporting nearby housing, retail, and service sectors. If it would have been approved, the proposed $320 million Tyson Foods poultry complex in Tonganoxie would have injected an estimated $150 million annually into the Kansas economy. Proponents highlighted its potential to create 1,600 local jobs, expand the county tax base. Now, I've heard some individuals come up to the microphone and say that they don't care how much their taxes are raised. I would just say my perception, the amount of people that I've talked to in the roughly 5 years that I've door knocked and been interacting in politics and discussing property tax on a large scale, that is not the average person or the average sentiment. When you're in this room during tax time, when we tax people out of their homes every year, it's just interesting. Anyways, so to have someone come up and say that we did not miss anything, I don't know how you can say that with certainty. I don't think anyone can say that honestly, because we did not have the opportunity to have that experience. So I just think that's shocking, quite frankly. So what I look for personally is when people come up to the microphone, when they post on social media, when they write in the paper, when they email me, when they phone call and leave a voicemail or send a text message. I'm looking for honesty and truth. If there's a lot of people running groups and they lack facts and they're clearly making decisions based on emotion, it stands out to me. Speaking to the county, whether we're open or closed for business. Specific actions and controversies that have driven this sentiment include blocking commercial investment. The Commission voted to veto an RHED housing development in Lansing, a decision that raised concerns among economic development groups that the county is actively deterring development. The data center moratorium. The BOCC passed a 90-day moratorium on new data center developments, which critics argue signals a lack of readiness to capitalize on major technological infrastructure projects and regional job opportunities. Residents and business leaders frequently voice concerns that these actions project an unwelcoming environment, resulting in lost revenue, missed jobs, and stalled growth for the county. Repeated pushback against large-scale projects, such as localized opposition that derailed the Tyson operation, has fostered a perception among developers that the county is not an accommodating place to do business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. We'll move on now to consent agenda.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying and your point of view, but I have to take issue with a couple of things. First of all, well, we are open for business, and I know you believe it, and I believe everybody up here knows it too. But when you look at the nitty-gritty in the writing on what people wanted, RHIDs, for example, that's in my district, Lansing. I voted for one, I voted two down. I will not give away 25 years of tax, property tax, to a developer. They can do it with less. They did it. The new one that finally came in said, hey, we're going to follow your policy. And they did an 8-year one coming in. I think the problem with the Tyson down, Tommy, because I was just became the mayor of Lansing that time, is that the people down in Tonganoxie weren't aware of everything that was going on. I've been working in government for 47 years, and it was surprised when I drove down and saw that truck down there. I think there's some things that need to happen to make sure that the citizens are involved. And yeah, people get emotional. I can't blame them. They're talking about their land. But I try to look at everything that's thrown out in front of me, all the information. Do I like it when someone comes up here and says we're not smart? No, but I know it's emotions playing out there. I try to listen to what the facts are and then go do my homework. We have to make some tough decisions, and there will be 3 of us that won't be here in 6 months. And I hope they take half the time to review material with the city, with the county administrator, and everybody else, so they can see what we're trying to do. Do I wish I could go back and look at a couple things? Yeah, but that's why you always catch me saying, listen, I need some more time on this. It's not that I agree or disagree. I just need to have more information. And every time a person comes up here, that's why we push to have the 5 minutes of vice position. Every time someone comes up here and presents me with something, it's more information for me to accept in the old noggin and try to figure out what's the best for Leavenworth County. I don't care if you're in southern Leavenworth County, you're in my city of Lansing, or you're up north. I'm trying to help the county grow. I think the worst thing that happened was when years ago county commissioners let 435. We were the only section that didn't get it because we dropped out of an agreement. I don't want to miss out on anything. But at the same time, there's value to what people say about how they want to live. That's all mine.
Okay, before we go to the consent agenda, I have one question for the county council. If we were going to bring forward a proposal for a advisory election and we limited it to Tonganoxie proper, Tongi Township, and Reno Township, where the proposed project is located. What would the procedure be for you bringing that back? Would you bring that in terms of a resolution, or would you bring it in terms of options that we could have for providing that?
Commissioner, I just want to clarify an advisory election on whether, I'm assuming we're talking about the data center, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so you're asking what would the procedure be for having an advisory election?
In just those area around where the proposal is being offered.
I would, yes, we'd need to bring back, if this governing body directed that they wanted to see it on the agenda, we would bring back a resolution setting forth that with a commitment for the county to pay for said advisory election.
Okay. I just want to put that out there, and we could discuss that in the future.
What would the cost of that, the roundabout cost would that be to the county?
I'm not certain. I would need to check with the clerk. It's complicated because since there's not a statutory mechanism for that, we cannot use the state's equipment, their Elvis system. I don't want to throw out a number yet, but it's substantial.
Which would mean that we would have to purchase the equipment that's needed to do that, pay for the individual's time that would involve in that situation, and the maintenance of that particular project. And when that's over, the equipment that we purchase or could purchase for that endeavor would be dormant, would be there, or it's lost revenue.
We wouldn't necessarily have to purchase equipment to do a advisory election.
You would have to decide how you wish to conduct it.
Lease or purchase?
It could be done with paper ballots like we used to.
I'm asking the counselor.
Yeah, there would be different ways to do it. I would also note that the election officer, the county clerk, is not required to conduct this since it's not statutory. So we would have to look into how we would conduct it.
Thank you, Councilor.
All right. We'll move on now to the consent agenda. Your motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Is there discussion? No discussion. Voting. Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
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 All right. Moving now to formal board action, Resolution 2026-9, a request for a special use permit for Tillman Infrastructure LLC. Mr. Jacobson.
Morning, John.
Morning, Commissioners. Resolution 2026-09 is for the installation of a 195-foot communications tower on the northwest corner of. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Railroad ears.
You know me, John. Come on.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
This resolution is for the installation of a 195-foot communications tower on the northwest corner of 15076 214th Street. The tower will be screened and landscaped so that it has some buffering element between it and adjoining uses. Planning Commission voted 8-0 to recommend approval for that resolution. Any questions?
Okay. Other questions, Commissioner Culberson?
Nope. No.
I have any questions, Mr. Chairman?
No questions. Is there a motion?
Consider a motion to find that the request for a special use permit as outlined in case DEV 26015 complies with the golden factors and move to adopt resolution 2026-9 and conditionally approve the special use permit as outlined in case DEV 26015 based on the recommendation and findings of the Planning Commission and the findings set forth in the staff report as amended by the Planning Commission and as substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence presented at the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there comment? Commissioner Culberson?
Nope.
Is there anyone here that can give testimony from the company?
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Patrick Irwin.
Good morning.
I'm the applicant in front of you for the special use permit. I'd be happy to address any questions you may have concerning it.
Do you have a question for him?
Oh, I had any questions. I just wanted to give me testimony about it. What are you going to do for us?
I think staff gave a good synopsis of what it is. It's a 190-foot tower. It's located on approximately 157 acres on a parcel that does include a residence, but is mostly used as a soybean field in active production. It's 190. The tower won't be lit. It's adjacent to the turnpike. It's to serve. Our primary purpose of it is for AT&T is going to be our anchor tenant. We're going to actively market different elevations on it. It's built to accommodate 3 unique users, and we're going to market it to AT&T, Verizon, and any other carriers that might be providing services in the area. And the staff also went on. It is screened with an aluminum opaque fence with approximately 45 trees, different landscaping situated around it to screen the base of it. It's set back over 233 feet from the nearest property line.
Okay. Does it need to be any type of burn that's put in place to help with radioactivity or something that may come off from that?
A burn?
Yes. Protection from the citizens. So there's radioactivity coming from the electrical lines.
No. So it's for cellular communication use. The purpose is to send the radio waves so that our phones actively work.
Okay.
So amperage in these towers typically is substantially less. It's secondary that feeds these towers, not primary. Primary is the high amperage, high voltage lines that you see unshielded that are on the extremely tall towers.
Okay.
Secondary is what you see here on the street. So the amperage is half and the load is half of what it would be in primary.
Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finished. Thank you.
Commissioner Reed?
No.
All right, voting, Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
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 Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's see here. We'll move on. Resolution 2026-7, request for a special use permit for Call Valley Companies LLC. And come on down and give your presentation, folks. Is that what we're going to do? Yeah.
Up to you.
What's up? Come on down and speak up for the railroad ears.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Plan
Do
Commission.
you want to do lights or not for the?
You want to close one layer of lights so people can see.
Good catch.
All right. Everybody can see better? All right.
My name is Aaron March. I'm with the Route Spreads White Gauss Law Firm here today on behalf of the applicant, Call Valley. With me in the audience are Mr. Tim Cates and Adam Cates, owners and principals with Call Valley. Zach Copeland, Senior Vice President, Call Valley. Chuck Stites, Director of Business Development, Call Valley. Dan Hayes, General Manager, Director of Sales. And Aaron Fritz, he's the principal of the Transportation Group with George Butler and Associates. This is the application that's before you, and I want to thank you for taking the time to evaluate it, to read it, to analyze it. I want to thank staff for diligently going through it. It's a comprehensive submittal. We wanted to do more than was necessary so that you could thoroughly evaluate it. And based upon our application, our materials, staff did make a recommendation for approval subject to conditions, only 2 of which are we asking you to change. Last time we were before you, because certain new information had come up, you remanded us back to the Planning Commission. And at the last Planning Commission meeting, it was a denial, but it was a split vote based upon 2 of the golden criteria, none of which had to do with the route, none of which had to do with traffic, and only 2 items that they talked about that I'll address in my presentation. I have copies of this that I'll pass out to you afterwards. First, next slide, please. First, who's Call Valley? It's a Kansas-based family-owned business founded in 1984, 100 total employees. Call Valley Sand operates one of the Midwest's largest sand They're one of the largest sand producers in the Midwest. They produce for Owens Corning, fiberglass, spec chem, BNSF Railroad, Penny's Concrete. The sand's used in synthetic turf and natural turf and golf courses, sand volleyball. Anything you can imagine sand can be used for, we provide. Next slide, please. The location and specific request. The location is 435 acres located at 166th Street and Lanape Road. It is currently Zone I3 Heavy Industrial. The request is to approve a special use permit to operate a sand excavation and stockpiling operations with 2 modifications from those in the staff report for a period of 25 years. Next slide, please. So why here? The sand on deposit, deposited thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, is unique. It's special. It's located, because it's here, it's a rare commodity. It isn't quite gold. It isn't quite a rare mineral, but it is unique in its composition. It's also located at a relatively shallow level, and it's relatively easy to harvest, to excavate, and there's similar operations nearby. Next slide, please. Why here? It's been talked about by several people. Why here? Because we're industrially zoned. This property and the area east of us, the area west of us, is zone heavy industrial. Today, you could have storage facilities, warehouse distribution centers, which would generate way more truck traffic than we would generate. They're allowed as of right. That means that they can come and get their approvals and be built, subject to county regulations, of course. Auto repair, chemical processing and manufacturing. Special use permit is required for sand excavation, and that's why we're here before you today to talk about the zoning under the special use permit. But heavy industrial uses have been contemplated here, I think someone mentioned, since 1960. Next slide, please. But in 2024, after a process of community involvement, planning commission involvement, you all updated your comprehensive plan. You had an opportunity then to say, no, the area is changing, we really don't want heavy industrial. But heavy industrial was reinforced as the appropriate use for this area, not added, approved again for this area. And it specifically states in your 2024 comprehensive plan, industrial zoning along the river bottom will be maintained. So that's the vision that you all have presented to the world, whether they be new residences, people looking at the area, or people who want to buy property for industrial development. You have designated this area as recently as 2024. Next slide, please. This is the site plan. It shows our acreage under ownership, and you see light in blue kind of there in the middle. That's depicting our initial 10-acre pit. We're going to take down about 10 acres a year and grow this over time. And we'll take out about 50,000 tons a year. So out of every 10-acre area, there'll be about 500,000 tons of sand. And this will grow and grow. And we will have a fence around this area, an 8-foot chain link fence around this area as it grows. It's one of the conditions in the staff report that we clarified at Planning Commission. We agree with that condition, have no problem with it. And the facility, the operational facility itself, will be secured with chain link fencing. All the other land that is not in active operation, all of the land not in blue, will continue to be used actively as farmland. So it will be just like it is today. And over time, it will become used to be utilized for the sand operation. Next slide, please. Our operations themselves, or once you approve, and we hope you do approve the special use permit, we have a lot of work we need to do. We have to apply for permits. Those permits are reviewed and approved by the county, the Public Works Department, Planning and Zoning Department, and also the Lanape Drainage District. Their time for review and approval comes when we have the detailed design plans and construction plans to show where we're going to be excavating, what the depths are, and we fully intend, and we talked with their engineer before the Planning Commission meeting, we said we fully intend to come before you for your review and consideration of our detailed plans at the appropriate time. The state of Kansas heavily regulates us, as does the United States government through the Mine Safety and Health Administration, the Corps of Engineers, and FEMA. We are a very heavily regulated industry. We have to be safe. We have to do things right, or whether it's the county, whether it's the state, or whether it's the feds, we'll pull our permit and shut us down. That has not happened in any of our operations that we have throughout the Midwest. Next slide, please. Our on-site operations, we are proposing to severely limit the noisy part of our operations. That's excavation and hauling. That's limited Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. One of the conditions we're asking you to modify is to allow us to dredge and stockpile the quiet operations so that those can occur without restriction. Those are very labor-intense to get started, very labor-intense to shut down, and frankly, it allows us to have material on site so that when it is needed, it's available. Again, those are quiet activities. No hazardous chemicals are used. There are no toxic we use non-toxic and biodegradable lubricants. To the extent you can have an industrial use as green, we come as close as possible to that. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, our equipment isn't diesel. We use state-of-the-art electric equipment for our water pumps, our dredge lines, the washers, the separators, and the consolidators. That electric equipment is the equipment that we're asking you to allow us to use as needed without restriction, unlike the noisy activities for the actual excavation work. Next slide, please. There's been a lot of talk about traffic. We knew traffic was going to be an important consideration, and we're not done talking about traffic because the approval of the special use permit requires us to enter into a contract with the county. The county then engages a third-party traffic engineer to review our impact. We think we know what that is. That's in our study. That's part of this. But our business today is 50 trips on average a day. That's what we do. We know our business. We were very conservative in our studies. We told GBA, nobody's going to believe us if we say 50 trips, so let's more than double it. Let's analyze 120 trips. What's the impact on the roads? That's in here. That's evaluated. But it's going to be further evaluated should you approve the special use permit by your staff and your third-party consultant. The primary route today has daily traffic of 2,300 to 2,670 vehicles. We're going to be adding 50 round trips. The primary route has capacity to take 10,000 vehicles per day. You believe that this area should be industrial when you maintain its industrial master planning designation. You knew that there would be, and that's called out under your master plan. Next slide, please. This is the primary route in the application. We go left out of the site onto Golden Road, we get to Cape 32, and we go right and we work our way, at least for our truck traffic, to our processing facility in Edwardsville. This route works based upon the analysis that we've done, but you'll hear from me in a minute. If it's your trouble that you make it a condition that we change the route, we will accept that as a condition of approval. Next slide, please. I want to take a minute and talk about one of those changed facts that you knew about that you thought the Planning Commission should consider, and this is the SS4A grant. And I'd like Mr. Aaron Fritz with GBA, our traffic engineer, to talk about that grant.
Thanks. Again, my name is Aaron Fritz. I'm a principal for transportation at GBA. Just so everybody knows my background, I spent 17 years at KDOT. I've done many projects in this county on K32, for example. We're actively designing a roundabout at 158th and K32. So my experience is pretty vast. What I want to emphasize with the SS4A grant, it does a lot of great things. It addresses the side slopes. It looks at high friction course surfacing on certain horizontal curves. It adds shoulders. It does a variety of things. The one thing it does not do and was not allowed as part of the grant was to resurface the 24-foot top. So the traveled way is not a component of this grant. And so, as you'll hear from the other Aaron, what we're proposing is to help address that. So if this project goes this SS4A grant goes, it only is addressing kind of everything but that 24-foot roadway. So what we are proposing is to assist with that through a payment to really provide that overlay for the 24-foot roadway to really accommodate both the existing traffic, because there's an under thickness that needs to be there today, but also the growth of the traffic. And the other thing I want to address about K32, so K32 is similar in the volume of traffic it can handle. When KDOT put forth that design, the typical section, the pavement, it addresses growth over the 20-year horizon. So it more than can accommodate the additional trucks from Car Valley, more can accommodate the oversized, overweight vehicles that use it today. I know there's a modular home facility that we accommodated in our roundabout design that travels this route. We know it accommodates wind turbines. So the shoulders, the pavement, that roadway is designed and will accommodate the growth, whether this project goes in or not, it accommodates that.
So you heard from the citizens during the public comment section about the accidents that take place today. They take place today because of the problems that this grant is going to fix. What doesn't get fixed is the driving surface. So you may have a road that doesn't dip as much. You may have a road that doesn't curve around as much. You may have a road that has wider shoulders. It's all by the grant. But the pavement surface doesn't get fixed by this. And in the development agreement, and is required by your policy, we are agreeing to fix the pavement. The problem that exists today, and a 20-year pavement as required by your policy to handle our truck traffic. That happens if we get approved. We've estimated that number to be $3 million. We needed to know what the number might be, but the number is going to be what your engineer and your third-party consultant say it is. If it's $2.5 million, we're happy. We write you a check when you tell us you're ready to proceed. And if we don't write you that check, we're done. If the number is $4.5 million, we hope it's not $4.5 million, but we don't know what asphalt prices are going to be. Same thing. You give us 90-day notice, we write you a check. If we don't write you the check, the SUP goes away. But we have an idea that that's a number of around $3 million, and we're willing to take on that responsibility. Next slide, please. The development agreement is next on your agenda item, but it's important to talk about some of the things it says because it's a requirement of your policy. Next slide, please. We've talked about the things that we're willing to fund. We have to fund. We're going to fix the existing pavement deficiency. We're going to add additional pavement with 20-year pavement design. That's required by your standards. All in, that's about 5 inches of asphalt. Again, we estimated that number to be $3 million. We hope oil prices go down. By the time the bids come in, we don't know. It may go up, it may go down, but that number will be as established by the county and paid by us. There are other improvements that we have to do that aren't covered by the grant, some additional widenings and turning capacities. That's all on us, and it will be as detailed by your study that we get to say yes to. It's just that simple. We say yes, we move forward. We say no, we don't. Next slide, please. Additional development agreements. We're committed to doing everything we can to bring rail to this corridor. We have had 2 meetings with the railroad within the last 2 weeks. They're excited to come here. We'd love to use them, but they're not going to come just based upon us. But seeing us come in, we believe we'll bring other users that will allow the railroad to see that there's a need and a demand. And we will continue to do everything in our power, working with state leadership, including Senator Clem and the LCDC, to make sure that rail becomes a reality in the corridor. It's good for us. It's good for the community. It's good for everybody. It just makes sense. But it's going to take more than us to make that happen. We're also agreeing to make a payment of a per-ton royalty similar to what we've paid, actually identical to what we've paid in other communities. And it's based upon every ton of sand that comes out as weighed. We submit detailed information to the county, and every 30 days we write you a check. That check goes to fund whatever the county commission chooses to fund. It's simply a payment from us. Next slide, please. Conditions of approval. Next slide, please. There are 2 conditions of approval that we ask to modify. The first one is condition number 1, that the special use permit be limited to a period of 3 years. We're asking that you allow us, as we request in our application, to have a special use permit for 25 years. First of all, it's going to take us about 2 years to go through all the regulatory approval process to commence operations. Then secondly, we're going to have at least a $6 million capital investment for the facility and at least a $3 million capital investment for the road. So that $9 million capital investment, it's a challenge to say we'll write those checks if we know we're only going to be in business for 3 years. So we ask that you allow us to be a fully engaged, full-fledged business for 25 years. That'll allow us also to think about other things that we are contractually obligated to consider, and that's growing the Kaw Valley presence, offices and whatnot into Leavenworth County, consolidating them here. We'd love to think about it, but with a 3-year special use permit, we don't know how long are we going to be around. If we know we're going to be here for 25 years, we'll think long and hard about expanding our operations here in Leavenworth County. Next slide, please. The other slide that we ask you, the other condition we ask you to modify is condition 16, the limitation on our dredging, the quiet component of the operations, that those be limited to hours of 6:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Again, these are the quiet components, everything done with electric systems. But it takes us 2 hours to shut things down, so that means we're going to have to start shutting things down at 4:30 in the afternoon to be shut down at 6:30, and that means we're going to have to be starting up to get those things going at 4:30, or technically maybe we couldn't start to get things going until 6:30, so we'd really be limiting our operations from 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. That's pretty significant restriction on any business, let alone ours. Again, the dredging and the stockpiling, they generate little noise. It's the excavating of the gravel that makes noise. We're absolutely agreeing to restrict the times of those operations. The excavation and the hauling, the noise-making operations will be limited to 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Those are the only 2 conditions we ask you to modify. Next slide, please. Additional conditions to consider, should it be your pleasure. Next slide. If you want us to change the primary route, to modify it so that we go left at K32 versus right, that change, we're happy to accommodate that change. Next slide. So the primary route would turn left at Golden Road and K32. Next slide. And for our trucks, our 9 trucks, they would carry on to 222nd Street, get on to I-70 and come into Edwardsville, our processing facility. Where people go elsewhere south to on K32 to get to Lawrence or elsewhere in the county or other counties, that'd be up to them. But every vendor that we sell to, everybody that comes to get sand from us will be given at the weigh station and as part of their order absolute mandate of directions to take. We deal with the same people as customers day in and day out. You heard from one of them speak earlier today. We love them, but if he violates our commitment and our SUP condition, we're going to have to stop doing business with him because it's too important for us to violate the terms of our SUP. This is something that we can control. Next slide. In our application, we specifically say we're not in the business of doing retail sales, but it was suggested to us by the Planning Commission that maybe we should change that. If it's your pleasure and you want to add a condition that allow retail sales, then that would generate sales tax on site in Leavenworth County in addition to the royalty payment. We don't know how much that would be. Could it be? It depends what guess you make on the percentage of sales. So I don't want to put a number out there, but it's something that we absolutely are willing to take on and explore. Next slide. Again, just ask it, make it an additional condition. We'll gladly do that. Next slide, The Planning Commission on remand significantly changed its position, even in denial. There weren't 4 conditions of approval, or basis for approval, there were 2. None of those 2 bases for approval had the additional tag that the original basis for denial did, and that was based upon the route. Based upon the route, we think it doesn't satisfy golden condition number 1 or golden condition number 2 or 6, whatever it may be. Because of the grant, because of our contractual commitment to fix the current paving deficiency and add additional paving to handle our load, the route became a non-issue. So the basis for denial from Planning Commission was that we don't match the character of the neighborhood. Well, as I showed you earlier, specifically master plan, updated as recently as 2024 for this area to be industrial. And the zoning adjacent to us, east and west, is industrial, and we've got the railroad line to the north. So because we comply with the industrial character on the zoning and the industrial called out in the comprehensive plan, we believe we do satisfy the first golden factor. The other basis for denial was they didn't think we had an economic benefit and gain to the public health, safety, and welfare. Well, we're going to fund major road improvements being needed today. We're going to pay an ongoing royalty payment. We're going to become what we believe is an economic first mover into this corridor. We believe with us and others that may come after us that there will be rail expanded into the corridor, potential for additional growth up Caw Valley nearby, and other jobs and business relocation. So we believe that we do satisfy and will be of economic benefit to the county as a whole. Next slide. So this is more than about Caw Valley SUP. It's more than about bringing Caw Valley here. It's about countywide economic development to a corridor that's been called out as industrial and has been zoned industrial for a very long time. Next slide, please. Kansas Concrete and Aggregate Producer sent a letter, a copy of which I'll pass out. There's one paragraph that I thought was telling, and it reads like this. The opening of this planned industrial corridor, the investment in local roads, the increase to the county's tax base, the partnership with a company committed to being a good neighbor and using reclamation best practices, along with having a facility that will help provide the building materials for infrastructure in Leavenworth County and beyond, are net positives for Leavenworth County. We believe this summarizes why this, while a difficult decision, is a right decision to vote yes on this SUP. Next slide, please. Again, we're a first mover. We think you approve us and others will follow because they want to partner with us in our facility. They don't want to haul sand to Wyandotte County, to Johnson County to do things with it. They want to be able to do it nearby in Leavenworth County. Next slide. So again, our request is that you approve the special use permit to operate a sand excavation and stockpiling operation with the modification of condition number 1, which is the length of the special use permit. We asked for 25 years, and modify condition 16 to allow us to operate the dredging and stockpiling operations as needed. And we are willing to accept 2 new conditions, one regarding going left at K32, an alternate K32 route, and adding retail sales to our operations. Next slide. When we are finished, we are required as part of our permitting with the state to have a reclamation plan. We are in conversation. This is our reclamation plan, to have a recreational lake available for activities, and we are in conversation with the state that should this happen in 25 years, that they will take this on as part of the SID system. It isn't a guarantee. Nobody knows what it is going to be in 25 years, but this is a contractual bonded reclamation plan at the state level that we have to implement. With that, I thank you for your time. I thank the neighbors for continually to come out. And I, again, thank staff for reviewing this and you for reviewing this very detailed and complicated application. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If I could ask you to take some questions here in a bit, but we've had about an hour and a half now, so I'm going to say we're going to have another 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back for questions. All right. We'll reconvene about, let's just say 11:45. All right, we'll call everybody back to order here, and we're going to entertain questions by the commission. And I'm going to start with Commissioner Culberson.
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Smith?
Nope.
Okay, well, a couple questions for you.
Surprise.
So there was a comment by one of the folks about KDOT being communicated with. Have you guys communicated with KDOT?
I've had preliminary emails with Brian Barrett. He's a former coworker of mine. We've talked in broad terms about future improvements on K32. We talked about the SS4A grant in regards to the turning movements at K32 and Golden Road.
So you have any communication about the passing on the lanes like they talked about?
No, I'm aware of it from my time with my coworkers there, but not direct conversations about opportunities to pass or current concerns with any of the K32 issues.
Okay. We had some communications about water wells. Is there a way that we can assure or help the folks feel more confident about their? We have a lot of folks on well water out there. Is there a way we can assure them that this, and maybe you could show me a study showing that their well water is safe?
So my expertise is in transportation. I don't have the H&H. That's not my area of expertise. Certainly, between KDHE and other third-party engineers, they can address those concerns. I have just general concepts about.
Okay. Is there anybody that has addressed that among your engineers?
What we know is that through the regulatory process of both MSHA, the Mine Safety Health Administration, and at the Kansas regulatory level, that they will be monitoring the water and our impact on water. And if there's a problem, it's ours to solve and fix. It's hard to disprove a negative, but it's something that will be cautiously monitored by the state and the federal government to make sure we do not have an impact on the quality of water.
So is that something we should take into consideration when we're doing a zoning decision, in your opinion?
It should be. Should you want to, you could put a condition on monitoring the well water, but because everything is speculation going forward, but historically, everything that we've done in our business, in our industry, has not had an impact on well water. That's what we can talk about experientially, that we do not and will not. And given the setbacks that we are from the property line, how very far back we are set back, the limitations on where we have activity, and because this is a chunk at a time of land, it's something we can easily stay ahead of and monitor with ease.
Would you agree to a condition if someone's well water was made unpotable, that you would line water into their properties?
I'm looking at my client really quick. If we are responsible for negatively impacting the quality of somebody's water, it's our problem to fix.
So I'm taking that as a yes.
I didn't.
So if somebody's water was made unpotable and unusable, and they're currently on well water directly because of the project, you would basically agree to make it right or figure out a way to get water.
It would be our legal liability and responsibility to find them suitable potable replacement water. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's a question that's come up, and I think the folks ought to hear that. You've heard this issue of silica sand. I don't find a lot of research that's sustainable. I mean, it's a question of how far it is away and that kind of thing. Do you have any research, or do you? How much should we take that into account?
The issue of silica sand is one that comes up with dry sand. We're wet. We're very, very wet. The product comes out of the pit wet. It stays in the stockpiles wet. If it ever gets near dry, we water it down, and it goes on the trucks wet, which, by the way, is kind of to your benefit because it weighs more, and therefore the tonnage, the royalty fee is paid more. But our product is wet. When it goes to Edwardsville and is dried, then you have dry sand, and that's where silica can, and the literature is all over the place on it. But we are a wet provider at this location.
So you don't see that as being an issue?
No, sir.
Mr. Chairman, while you're on that subject of silica, can I chime in on this?
Sure.
Okay. I've done quite a bit of research, and one night I even had the opportunity to take our pet out to drain the lawn. Not drain, but to improve the lawn because I was up so late. And I was looking at a report by OSHA that said that there was some significant differences in those individuals who were around the silica. And that one thing that they have done is to make sure that there are protective gear on those trucks and individuals who are within the facility, in the facility, excuse me. And it says, according to the careful consideration of available surveillance studies, stakeholders and comments and testimonies, and the remainder of the record as a whole, OSHA had determined that the available silica surveillance data was useful for providing content on an illustration of significant trend of reduction of deaths associated with silica over the past 4 or 5 decades. As discussed above, in large part, the data themselves are limited and incomplete. OSHA believes reliance upon them for the purpose of sustaining magnitude of the risk magnitude to be inappropriate. Now, OSHA is saying this, however, they've also said in a much elongated study that they cannot prove or disprove. However, there were individuals who worked within the facility that had a larger, the test scores, that they were significantly higher for those individuals who actually worked in that. So what I'm saying here is that, is there a chance that if that sand is on a vehicle and it's going through any neighborhood, and especially past our schools neighborhood, that there's equipment available to take care of that situation when and if it happens? That is dry.
On the product coming off of our property is wet sand. And our employees, we care about our employees' health and safety, but we're not going to do anything to put them in jeopardy. And never have. If there is an occasion off-site, like in Edwardsville, and I'm over my skis here,
okay.
If that product there does have the potential for generating silica dust, where we try to process it, you can bet this family-run business is doing everything that they can to protect their employees, because that's one of the sons right there. He works there. The other son, who was at plant, they work there. They're going to take care of everybody like they take care of their own blood relative. And again, the product coming from here is wet, and we make sure that it stays wet, even in the winter. If we have a stockpile and it's freezing, we keep it wet, and that wet freezes and it becomes ice. There's no silica blowing because that's just not the kind of sand operation we have here. Maybe elsewhere, but not here.
Okay.
And if MSHA or OSHA require it, we're going to do it. Not going to challenge it. We're going to do it.
I wanted to bring that up because I wanted people to hear from you and Caw Valley that they would be responsible for whatever happens, and they would take care of it. I agree that having individual owners and family members work in the area, they would think it would be as pleasurable as possible. limiting whatever is going to happen. For my reason for bringing it up is so that everyone can hear exactly what it is that's being done about silica and what your intentions are in doing it and protecting individuals in and around that area. Because it came to me as an email from an individual who gave us a pretty good letter that he did not want to see this happen and decade to come forward. But thank you for that.
So, kind of circling back with that, are your trucks going to be tarped?
Yes.
Okay.
They are today, and they will be going forward.
So when they're out on the highways, they're going to be tarped. That's the railroad. We haul sand too, and there's huge tarps, and they tarp it because I've been on a train when they didn't tarp it, and by the time it got to where it was going, I'm sure they had about half the sand. So, Lene Drainage District, I think you addressed that. If it goes to a development agreement stage, you're going to deal with them. I think there was some confusion, or there was the thought process on their part that they had not been contacted.
I'll jump in here on this one if you don't mind. That's part of the NFIP process. So to get their local floodplain development permit, they're going to have to address that. Call Valley will have to address that when they drainage district.
Okay.
Or we won't issue the permit. That's essentially what the state says.
So Fire District number 2, which covers a lot of that area, also reached out to me, and I believe they sent a letter to all the commissioners saying that they had never been contacted by Call Valley as far as giving their view on what the route would be. Have you had contact with Fire District number 2?
One of our civil engineers who's not here, yes, we did before the first planning commission meeting, according to him, reached out and talked to the Fire District. I wasn't involved in those conversations. We'd be happy to have ongoing conversations with them to review the application.
Well, they just had wondered about giving their input for the route. They never were reached out to.
Again, I've been informed that they were, but we will gladly talk to them.
Okay. So what are we down to? We've been this process has been going on and on. What is our total number of trucks per day now? What is a baseline? Where are we at?
Our real world, and it's stated in our application, our real world average is 50 trips a day on average.
All right, so that's like 100 trucks a day going back both ways.
One trip out, one in, one out, total of 100. That's correct.
Okay, very good. So that's the number. So Sheriff Dedeke offered a letter. Did you have an opportunity to read his letter?
I have not seen that.
It was presented to the Planning Commission. It was citing traffic, his concern about traffic issues with this application and his opposition to the application. Do you have any words that you would say addressing traffic issues?
The answers that I'll give are based upon the studies that GBA has done that will be further validated and confirmed by your independent hired traffic consultant as far as the impact on the roads. We believe that there's adequate volume and capacity and ability to handle our additional trucks as well as much, much more today. That situation is dramatically improved from a life safety perspective with the grant dollars that have been awarded to fix the design deficiencies that exist today. Many of the comments that have been made throughout the course of the consideration of this application are based upon the road today. By the time we open, the grant money will have been spent, or whether it's $3 million or our $4 million number that we write a check to the county to take care of the pavement, that will all have been done before we open.
You talked about the being zoned I for I-3 industrial. But the zoning requirement is for a sand mine that you would have to receive a special use permit. So when you're citing the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive plan also, I think, with a large development like this, contemplates that we would go through a process similar to this to have a decision whether a sand mining operation would come in under the term industrial. It's not grandfathered.
The approval of a sand quarry, a sand pit, does require a special use permit. My pointing out the industrial zoning that exists today in the master plan were that heavy, intense users, that don't require a special use permit, that generate a lot of truck traffic or have chemicals involved with them or noise or warehousing distribution, those are allowed uses without a special use permit. Still required process through the county. It was to talk about the intensity of the impact on the roads, not to undermine or mitigate the special use permit process specifically required for a sand excavation.
Okay, so when I look at this property down there has been zoned industrial, but within 1,000 feet of that, it's grown up in many ways very residential. I mean, we have very expensive homes. We have a Joy Meadows, the adoption facility is there. So it hasn't, over time, up to this point. I know the projections are, and it could develop into something different, but up to this point, it has developed residentially.
That's why I pointed out very specifically the 1984 comprehensive plan update that was countywide. Your process here, as I understand it, is very engaging. The community is involved. There are forums, there are workshops, planning commission. So not 2 years ago, the comprehensive plan could have been changed so that this wasn't industrial, but it wasn't.
Okay, on the issue of electricity, how much electricity do you foresee your facility using?
I don't know the exact quantity. I can turn around and get. We don't know that yet, but we've been in touch with power company. There's power available, hardline on site, or hardline to us, and whatever.
So we got a lot of big power users coming into proposing to come in. That's not going to interfere with that at all. That ability to get that electricity. So that's already locked in. Electricity, you pretty much locked in. Yeah. All right. That's all I have right now, Commissioner Dub, or I guess Dub. Mr. Reed. What was it? Okay, this time I'd like to offer a motion, and we'll see where we're at. Findings of the Board of County Commissioners. Number one, the application has generated extensive public comment and review by county staff and planning commission and county engineer, neighboring landowners, emergency responders, and other interested parties. Finding of the Board of County Commissioners. The Planning Commission conducted public hearings regarding the application and received substantial testimony concerning truck traffic, road infrastructure, compatibility with surrounding land uses, environmental concerns, and impacts upon nearby property owners. The Planning Commission recommended denial of the application. Finding. Per Kansas statute and case law requirements, clear findings by the Board of County Commissioners are necessary to substantiate the decisions of the board and ensure fairness and due process to the applicant. Finding. The Planning Commission found that the proposal failed to satisfy multiple gold factors, including neighborhood character, compatibility, and surrounding uses, detrimental impacts to nearby property and the haul routes, and the balance between public benefit and burdens imposed upon the surrounding property owners. Finding, the Leavenworth County Comprehensive Plan encourages orderly growth, protection of rural character, compatibility of land uses, preservation of agricultural areas, and protection of public infrastructure investment. Finding, the board finds that the preservation of the rural character of southern Leavenworth County constitutes a substantial and a legitimate planning objective. Finding, the board finds that the proposed industrial and mining operation is inconsistent with the established pattern of agricultural and rural residential development surrounding the subject property. Finding, the board finds that the introduction of a long-term industrial extraction operation would materially alter the character of the area and conflict with the comprehensive plan objectives promoting compatibility land use transitions. Finding, the board finds that the protection of the county transportation infrastructure is stated and is a legitimate planning objective. 10. Finding, the board finds that the approval of the proposed operation would impose substantial demands upon public road infrastructure and are inconsistent with the long-term infrastructure preservation goals. Transportation infrastructure. Finding, transportation impacts represent one of the most significant adverse consequences associated with the proposed operation. Finding, the evidence demonstrates that extraction activities would require substantial movement of sand by heavy commercial vehicles utilizing county roads. Finding, the board finds that portions of the anticipated haul route consist of rural roads originally designed to serve agriculture and residential traffic rather than sustained industrial hauling operations. Finding, the board finds that the roadway characteristics within the area include narrow pavement sections, limited shoulders, constrained sight distances, intersections with restricted visibility, and roadway segments shared by school transportation, agriculture equipment, emergency vehicles, and local residents. Finding, the board finds that increased heavy truck traffic would increase roadway conflicts, accident exposure, maintenance demands, and reconstruction costs. Finding, the board finds that substantial evidence was presented regarding concerns for school transportation safety and the interaction of heavy truck traffic with school buses and other local traffic. Finding, the board finds that substantial evidence was presented regarding emergency response concerns, including the effects of increased traffic congestion and roadway conflicts upon emergency vehicle operation. Finding, the board finds that the county engineer reviews conducted during prior proceedings identified substantial concerns regarding long-term roadway performance under projected truck loading conditions. Finding, the board finds that the applicant has not demonstrated that all transportation impacts have been fully mitigated. Rail transportation alternative. Finding, the board finds that the transportation impacts constitute a principal basis for opposition. Finding, the board finds that the rail transportation is commonly utilized throughout the aggregate and mining industries to reduce impacts upon public roadway systems. Finding, the board finds that rail transportation substantially reduced pavement deterioration, traffic conflicts, emissions, roadway maintenance costs, and impacts upon neighboring residential properties. Finding, the board finds that the applicant has not demonstrated that reliance upon truck transportation over county roads represents the least impactful transportation alternative reasonably available. The board finds that transportation of extracted materials by rail would more effectively protect public infrastructure and reduce impacts upon the surrounding landowners. Golden factor analysis. Golden factor. 1. Character of the neighborhood. The surrounding area consists primarily of agriculture uses, rural residences, estate residential development, open space, and river corridor lands. Finding, the proposed industrial mining operation is incompatible with the existing rural character of the neighborhood. Finding, nearby properties are predominantly agriculture and residential in nature. Finding, the proposed operation introduces industrial activities that are not compatible with surrounding uses. Detrimental effects upon nearby property. Finding 36. The board finds credible evidence regarding adverse impacts associated with traffic noise, dust, roadway deterioration, visual impacts, and interference with enjoyment of nearby property. Finding, The board finds that approval would create detrimental effect upon neighboring properties and users of affected haul routes. Relative gain to the public compared to hardship imposed. The board recognizes that the proposal may provide economic benefits to the applicant and limited economic activity associated with extraction operations. Finding. The board further finds that the principal economic benefits are largely private rather than public. Finding. The board finds that the burdens imposed upon the neighboring property owners, county infrastructure, public safety, and the rural character of the substantially outweigh any demonstrated public benefit. Finding. The board finds that the roadway maintenance costs, reconstruction obligations, traffic safety concerns, environmental concerns, and land use compatibility concerns represent substantial public burdens. Finding. The board finds the hardship imposed surrounding property owners and county taxpayers outweighs any demonstrated public good. And for this reason, I move that we accept the recommendations of the Planning Commission and deny the application.
Do we have a copy of that? All of us? I get you one. Give us one. Do we do that before we have a vote?
We can.
Yes.
But we don't have a second yet.
Second.
All right.
I do want to clarify. You have a motion denied before you. A vote of yes is denying the application.
And if I could get Becky to make copies.
Say that again, Misty.
You have a motion for denial. So if you vote yes, you are voting to deny the application.
Okay.
I don't want there to be any confusion.
Okay.
Get out here. Come up. It's the first two pages. And that's the last.
And this?
Yeah.
It's
and
a book.
Just the part where
it's a book one.
Do what?
Can I get my voice book?
Yes. I don't.
Oh, never mind. We'll have a look. Okay. Yeah. I went over, but I didn't want to go straight into it.
Was there a second to the motion? Okay, thank you.
Are we allowed discussion before we vote?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you want to have it? You want to have that before we start discussion, or we could? I guess we could start discussion.
If you want to start discussion now, we could do it when we can.
Well, we can just wait.
That's fine.
Vanessa could tell a joke. Or maybe not.
You got the wrong person to tell a joke. She does not joke.
They know you.
Oh my.
No, it's not 4 against 1, Vanessa.
Hey, I'm used to it. 6 to 1, 4 to 1.
We still love you.
I can put a second motion on the floor.
Don't we have to vote this one first?
This motion's under consideration right now.
Oh boy, very quiet in here.
That was my joke.
Okay.
Absolutely.
My hearing is not as good as it needs to be, so I want to make sure I can see it better than I can hear it.
What happens when we start losing both our hearing and our vision?
I'm retired.
I'm heading down that road.
Here we go.
I'm going to retire. I can see the whole place. It's time to
A
retire.
lot of people are amazing. Thank you.
So now we will open the floor for discussion. Mr. Culberson.
I don't have anything at this point.
Mr. Smith. I don't have anything, Mr. Smith.
So I understand that that the Carr Valley will go either left or right when they come out of the complex. Is that correct?
Left.
Left.
On Golden Road.
Left. So they
Well,
will not
now you're talking about which road? Right out of their driveway would be right. But when they get
Right.
across the tracks, it'll be left.
Okay, so entering 32, going past the school.
Golden Road.
So if they go to the left, they don't go past the school.
No, they go, well, on 30. If they go left, they go to County Road 1 then.
Okay. That's one of my concerns, is if they go left instead of right, because we have a lot of opposition and concerns going the other direction. I've seen quite a few incidents and a couple of, and one death at the intersection of going past the gas station on 32. And I see the concerns that people are making as far as it may not be valid, but however it has been mentioned, the silica that's going past the school and past those number of houses. So my consideration is going in the other direction, which they said that they would do.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have that put in writing before we do it. Having said that, we cannot put a patrolman out there on 32 to make sure that happens. There's no way that we can do that. So just wanted to mention that. That was my main concern, Mr. Chairman.
So,
Mr. Reed.
it sounds like, Commissioner Dove, you want to approve the application, but you want to amend the route.
Exactly.
Okay. And I will wait then and see if I get an opportunity to make a motion after this.
Mr. Culberson. Comment.
Does that sound right? Does that sound right? Okay. All right.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. No more discussion, so we will begin voting. Commissioner Culberson.
No.
And yes means I agree.
Yes, a vote of yes,
Yes.
means denial.
Yes.
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 So, Commissioner Dove, I just have to clarify because you just stated that you wanted to approve the application with
Yes, I
amending the
want
route.
to approve it.
But your vote of yes.
I'm
is-
sorry.
Okay.
That vote was inappropriate. No.
My vote is no.
So I want to clarify for the record,
Please
Commissioner Culbertson, you voted no to deny. Commissioner Smith, you voted yes to deny. Commissioner Stephen, you voted yes to deny. Commissioner Dove, you voted at first yes, but you meant to vote no to deny.
No to deny.
Okay. And Commissioner Reed voted no to deny.
Yes.
So that motion failed.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to find that the special use permit outlined in case DEV 25021 complies with the golden factors, including factors 1 and 6, and move to adopt resolution 2026-7 and conditionally approve the special use permit as outlined in case DEV 25021 based on the findings as set forth in the staff report and information presented at the public hearing, subject to the following additional conditions. The first to be the amending of the route as Commissioner Dove has explained. The second to be allowing them to do retail sales. And the third, which I'm open for discussion on, I would like to allow this, as I've expressed before on this board, to go to the 25 years, which is a business forward mindset. Right now it's 3. And so my motion is for it to be 25 years. But again, I'm open to discussion on that point, and that's my motion.
You're open to discussion on the change from 3 to 25?
Yes.
So that's all inclusive in your motion?
Yes.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's opportunity for discussion. Commissioner Culberson.
So on the 25 years versus 3, I agree 3 is not long enough.
Yeah.
But 25 seems like a long time.
Too long time.
What would you suggest?
20.
20?
15 or 20.
Okay.
Go ahead.
15? Okay.
I'm looking at 15 also. I think 25 is way too long for that agreement. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can happen in 15 years. But I think that 15 years is something that I can live with.
So I'm going to say something. While I'm siding with my constituents on this, but if you're approving something like this, I have to say, if they're investing millions and millions of dollars like this, that it's not unreasonable to ask for a very long term as they're requesting, because there's a lot of money invested.
Right.
And I would suggest that my view would be that 20-year term should be, I don't think lowering the 50, I think we should, I would agree with the term.
25?
Yes.
Okay.
While I disagree with the overall decision, but my view is that this is such a large investment for them that amount of time is not unreasonable. If you're investing millions and millions of dollars.
$20.
You're like the half a loaf guy, huh? What did you put in your motion? Did you put? We have a motion and a second right now, right?
Right.
And when you said it, did you say 25?
Yes, but
So
I can also withdraw an amendment.
Can we leave our motion? We'll just leave it. Just leave it.
I would like to withdraw my motion.
Okay, well, we can
do that.
Okay.
I would like to make.
Before you do, did you mean to leave out the dredging hours that they asked to change, or do you want to include that in your motion?
What would you like them to be?
Just okay that they want to dredge 2 hours before or after their truck route, since that part's not noisy.
They can't hear you. People in the audience have railroad ears.
Oh, sorry. So they're asking to dredge longer hours than their hauling schedule.
Yes.
I think 2 hours. I have to look it back at.
Yes.
I was going to include that in the motion if you wanted to.
If we could just add a point of clarification, they are asking to dredge, I believe, 24 hours a day without restriction. So that was the request. And Mr. March, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that correct? So.
I didn't realize it was 24 hours a day. I don't want to dredging at night.
So you're saying you're comfortable with 2 hours outside of the.
I don't know, 2 hours. I thought I read 2 hours somewhere. I didn't come up with that.
Limits the time.
You're right, but yeah, I'm just concerned about working at night. Any noise at all, you know what I mean?
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead.
The electric equipment that we use is incredibly quiet, and with the berming that we're putting in the landscaping, you're simply not going to hear those operations. We're never going to hit the 50,000, the tonnage that we contemplated if we reduce our hours, and then we're going to have trucks waiting, or we're not going to have 50 trucks a day coming because we won't have product. To shut it down, it takes effectively 4 hours out of the day.
I think that's where I got the 2 hours from.
Yeah, it was.
So,
2 hours to turn it off.
and then, so if you want us to not operate, making up time, let's after 8, then we're really shutting it down at 6 to be done by 8. And then if you're allowing us to start at 6 in the morning, well, we got to be out there at 4 to get going, or we're starting to get operating at 6:30 and we're really not running until 8:30.
Which I don't have a problem with that. It's just about the noise. What if can we put a decibel limit at the property line like we do data centers for at night between 6 and 6 in the morning or something like that?
He's maintaining 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Should be able to hit that. So if we establish a decibel level.
John, your microphone's not on.
If we establish a decibel level between, 65
Baseline.
and 75, again, 75 is about what a residential air conditioner is at the property line, and maintain that 24 hours a day, then I think it meets the intent of what you're trying to do.
That's already in there?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Never mind then.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
Are you making a new motion?
So, yes. Consider a motion to find that the special use permit outlined in case DEV 25021 complies with the golden factors, including factors 1 and 6, and move to adopt resolution 2026-7 and conditionally approve the special use permit as outlined in case DEV 25021 based on the findings as set forth in the staff report and information presented at the public hearing, subject to the following additional conditions. 15 years instead of the 3. The route change as Commissioner Dove established, and allowing retail sales.
15 or 20? I thought we said 20.
I thought we said 20. Why don't we just leave it?
15 is my motion.
That's your motion. Okay. That's your motion. I would like to offer an amendment. I'd like to move that we move that to 25 years, and also I'd like to state that the Commission is very concerned that this rail component be implemented.
Just put retail sales.
I did. Do I have?
So that's, is that a second on that motion?
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
So that is making it very clear that the Commission's intent is that this go to rail if at all possible.
Well, you said this
We're
is
not binding, but we're putting that in as a requirement.
Yeah, but this is a
It
messy
can't be a
motion.
requirement.
No, it's just, no, I made that.
I know, Misty, straighten us out.
Okay, we got a few things here. So we have a motion. I do not know if there was a second on the motion.
There was.
There was. Right, okay, and it addressed the route, retail sales, a term of 15 years. You did not take up the hours of operation for the dredging, and that may be intentional, but I want to point that out.
Leaving it as it's stated currently with the decibel level that's
Right, but there is a requirement currently to only allow dredging between, I believe, 8 to 6. So their request was to do away with that dredging.
So my motion was intended upon that conversation that we had, which was to allow 24 with the understanding of the decibel
Sure,
requirements.
the decibel level is already included in your
Right.
condition, but you would still have to strike that part of the plan, the operational component of the dredging.
The county's requesting that they not dredge 24 hours a day, so they're asking to remove
What happened to
that.
the berm? I heard there was mention of a berm being put up.
Well, there'll be landscaping and a berm, but their request was to allow for dredging 24 hours or at their discretion without any impediment to it. And I believe Commissioner Reed said she's okay with that. She just wants the decibel level to be maintained at the property line, as Commissioner Culbertson has suggested is already in the conditions of approval.
Okay, so the decibel level would take care of the berm.
The decibel level will take care of the total noise coming off the site, but you would still have to manually, in your motion, make a determination on that dredging operation, whether it's going to be without impediment. In other words, that's struck from the requirements, or not. You included everything but that particular component.
The two changes that they're asking for.
So to clean up the motion, should I withdraw my motion?
That's a possibility. Okay, so just
That's what I prefer.
Okay, so procedurally, where we are is there was a motion and a second. Then Commissioner Stephen had a motion to amend this motion, which I don't know that there's a second on that. If we're going to amend, was there?
Thank Joe.
No.
On amending your motion?
I didn't get any.
Okay,
So-
then there's, that's what I thought.
Okay, so.
So we don't even discuss that then.
Okay, to clean everything up, instead of voting on whether or not to amend and then amending, would both of you like to withdraw your current motions and start over?
Yes.
Please.
So, okay, I just want to say something. I believe we should just leave it at 25 years. I don't think we should change it to, I mean, if this is actually going to come into the county, this is a huge project, let's not make them come back here at 50. This is the kind of project that is going to have that type of an investment, so the year should be 25 years. I also want to include at least a line in this saying that the county commission is committed to working towards getting rail access at that
Are you
location.
making a motion?
I'm just making it. I'm just talking.
Would you like to make a motion?
Would you,
But how?
would you concede to 20 years instead of 25?
Well, I mean, I would concede to anything. I'm just saying that it's a big project.
It is a big
I mean, I really, you know, my position on it is I'm not in favor. But if we're going to move that way, they're putting this type of money into it. I think I don't see putting the red tape. I leave it the way it is.
So the floor is clear of motions
The
currently.
floor is clear of motions. I do want to just statement the commitment to the rail piece was included in the development agreement, and I think the commission could make a policy statement that it's really not appropriate to include that in the special use permit since we're based off of land use. So I would offer that up.
All right. Well, then, okay.
Consider a motion to find that the special use permit outlined in case DEV 25-021 complies with the golden factors, including factors 1 and 6, and move to adopt resolution 2026-7 and conditionally approve the special use permit as outlined in case DEV 25021 based on the findings as set forth in the staff report and information presented at the public hearing, subject to the following additional conditions: 20 years instead of 3, amending the route as Commissioner Dove established, allowing for retail sales, and 24-hour dredging. That is the end of my motion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. It is time for discussion. Commissioner Culberson.
Nothing.
Commissioner Smith. I'm going to speak to my constituents that drove up here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't get the votes here today because I would accept this. I've talked to you. I know that if we got it on the rail and 85% of the trucks are off, I know that's better. I know that a lot of you still don't want it, but that would be acceptable. But I know that approving this puts 100 trucks a day out on the roads down there. And I'm sorry that I couldn't stop it. I'm sorry. No, sorry. I want you to know that for 7 years it's been an honor to serve you as your commissioner, and I have done everything I could to stop this. And I'm disappointed in the vote. I'm disappointed in the vote. That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
I'll make you say.
It's your turn.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm good.
Anything else? Then we're going to vote on the motion, Commissioner Culverson.
Aye.
No.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, next time.
Commissioners, I do want to say, because there's been revisions to the resolution, I'm not going to ask you to sign it today. You have already voted to approve that special use permit, so that is concluded. However, I will bring back the resolution to make sure we've captured everything properly and avoid any typos. That will only be approved as to form. It is not another bite at the apple. I just want to make sure we all understand what's going to happen.
Gotcha.
And then what do you perceive as the future as far as the development agreement and the progress towards that?
Well, it is on the, I believe this is next on the agenda. The development agreement is there, which you could, I don't know if you've, what's your thoughts on it?
I really, my view is that we need to have a work session or at least spend time on the development agreement. I don't know if the rest of the commissioners.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. I don't think we're ready to move ahead on the development agreement today.
Would you like to move to a date certain to take it back?
Is there a
up
motion
again?
for that? Somebody?
2 weeks.
Go ahead.
Let's see what's good for you. 2 weeks.
2 weeks is.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that your motion?
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Mr.
Aye.
Culverson.
Aye.
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 All right.
They're just changing the thing.
Okay. Resolution 2026-10, proposed amendment to Leavenworth County Comprehensive.
Give them a minute, Chairman.
What's that?
You want to give them a minute?
We sure. We'll take a 5-minute break. 5-minute break.
I gotta get my budget stuff for you guys.
The houses that all have countertops. Made of sand.
How do you like to
Commissioner, there is pizza here.
There is?
Been a long
You smile pretty when you get up. All of you will see the back of your
I think John, you still got it.
Let me make the motion. How long is it? Minutes. Oh.
I've never seen me do 3-4 agendas fast. Because people get hungry out there. Right up there, I mean, like we're all everywhere.
but I think I'm withdrawing and having a clean motion. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. 20 years. Long around 20 years. Thank you very much. Sure. Mr. Chairman, what a good meeting.
It's a hard one.
But even if I had one, I would have said, well, it's challenging. I appreciate that.
I told him we need to start putting into the agenda like a noon to 1 break on every Wednesday. Just routinely have a lunch break.
It's too long to not have a lunch break. Oh, wow.
Because I think that's more predictable for people watching the meeting than randomly and like all this stuff.
Well, if you're watching the meeting, it's in 5 to 10 minutes. Wow, you start the video. You're really pausing.
Which is super annoying. Almost as bad as paying a staff member to sit here and click to the next slide. So many things.
Whatever will be, will be. What's that song?
Que sera, sera.
What's the guy's name? It's like a Russian.
There was a lot of debris under that bridge, yeah.
A lot of what?
There was a whole tree that got stuck under that bridge, and it caught a whole bunch of debris. Took most of the day to dig it all out of there and back in.
I figured it would.
It's the worst bridge in the county. They start bridge stuff on it.
Dawson Creek. Yeah, I told everybody, I was like, it's going to take a minute. Just calm down. There's worse ones.
It seems to get harder trees. It doesn't have enough height.
I think that's why, because it's so short. Well, Uncle Monkey used to live in that house right there by it, and he'd go down there and clear it all the time. And ever since he died, it's always built up.
Did you say your name was?
Uncle Monkey.
That's what I thought you said.
Where is that Uncle Monkey?
Uncle Monkey Owens.
Oh.
I don't even know what his real first name was. We just always called him Uncle Monkey.
That's a cool name. Uncle Monkey.
Okay.
Yep. It was like that.
So we're going to reconvene.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And just a note, suggested, and we might just talk about it real quickly.
I love my glasses.
Go ahead. Let's just get a walk out. When we have meetings that are going to exceed noon from now on, I think we will just plan noon will be a lunch break.
Yeah,
And then,
Good idea.
So that will be going forward.
like noon to 1.
Yeah, noon to 1. So if we hit noon, there'll be a lunch break. So just know that in the future. Sound okay?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
We voted without Mike.
I second.
Do we need full majority?
That's consensus. Consensus of the board. Mike, consensus of the board from now on, when we hit noon, we will have 1 hour lunch break.
I think it's a good thing, especially lately.
Yeah, you've been driving these meetings.
I know it. Can't take you anywhere.
Coming out.
All right. Mr. Jacobson, welcome, and here we go.
All right.
Again, there you go.
Resolution 2026-10 is a minor modification to the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission has reviewed the comp plan for the annual required review and came up with a singular element, which is shifting the 3 to 5 year internal update to 5 to 10 years, strictly from a busyness element. We don't believe that 3 to 5 is adequate for a county. 5 to 10 is a lot more reasonable to expend those funds. So internal updates every 5 to 10 is a change. Any questions?
None for me.
Okay.
Anybody? Question? Final chance. So is there a motion?
Consider a motion to approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission as outlined in case DEV 26048 and move to adopt resolution 2026-10 amendment to the Leavenworth County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Is there discussion? Commissioner Culberson?
Nope.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. You discussion?
No.
Oh, you said yes. Okay, voting, Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
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 All right, thank you very much. Consider a motion to approve the 1302 project programming request from the CDS project on 235th with KDOT.
Commissioners, today for your consideration is the project programming request form for KDOT. This is a form that is required to set aside those funds as part of the capital improvement plan this year. You did set aside those funds already, but this does require board action to solidify that with KDOT and move the 235th Street project.
I'm sorry, Bill, is your mic on?
You have railroad ears?
No. The
people might want to hear
the
this.
recording. I'm just. My hearing's great.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought John.
Begin again.
So today before you, Commissioners, is the 1302. It is a technical form that is a project programming request form from KDOT. It does set aside the funds and officially start the project, where KDOT will then send us an agreement that will be back before you for approval. In the 2026 capital improvement plan that you reviewed already this year, you did set these funds aside for the project. And so this is a form that is required statutorily by KDOT for us to start the project. And as soon as this form is completed, we will enter the environmental review phase, which could take 6 to 9 months or longer, depending upon which phase of review we get into. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there questions? Mr. Culberson? Mr. Smith? I don't have any. All right, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the 1302 project program request form for the CDS project on 235th Street with KDOT.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there discussion?
No.
Seeing none, voting, Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
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 Consider a motion to approve the agreement for the relocation of water line north of Dempsey Road on 235th Street with Rural Water District number 9.
Commissioners, today this is the same project, 1302 request for. This is part of the utility clearance for the project. Public Works would strongly advocate and would prefer to be able to bid this as a bid alternate item because it does use taxpayer funds. That has not been the case with Rural Water District number 9. We did go through the design process to get the quantities. This is not a betterment. It is a replace in kind. If there is a betterment to the water line, like an expansion of size, it would have to be paid for by the water district. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this.
Let's get a motion and then we'll do questions.
Consider a motion to approve the agreement for the relocation of the water line north of Dempsey Road on 235th Street with Rural Water District number 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion. Mr. Culberson. Mike?
We have issues with this before. This water district, is this one we've had issues with before?
Well, we've had some things that we had to come to an agreement on in the past, but this water district does not allow us to add their water line into the construction phase of our project and bid it as an add alternate item. And so we've had to negotiate with them in the past or had discussions with them in the past because of the pricing that we had received.
All right.
Okay, that's fine. Yes.
Okay, so voting, Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
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 All right. Now we'll go on to the next. Consider a motion to approve the construction contract with Norfolk Contracting for the replacement of Bridge HP 51 on Dempsey Road and Bridge T31 Fairmont Road in the amount of $593,000 with a 10% contingency.
Commissioners, today for your consideration are the two bridges. These are simple steel beam bridges like we have discussed in the past as part of the CIP program. These were allocated for this funding year. We did receive 3 bids for the construction of these projects. Norfolk Contracting of Nebraska was the low bidder. They are the contractor that recently completed the A07 bridge on Lecompton Road. These bridges will have a little bit of a contingency based upon the piling, because as you guys are aware and have directed staff to do so, we do these bridges on a low-cost maintenance schedule, and therefore do not have any geotechnical evaluations that are occurred. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, let's get a motion and then we'll.
Make a motion to approve the construction contract at Norfolk Contracting for replacing a bridge HP 51 on Jefferson's Road and bridge T31 on Fairmont Road in the amount of $593,000 with a 10% contingency.
Second.
Motion and a second. So discussion, question, what is the estimated completion dates on these?
Before the end of the year. They are actually slightly behind schedule. We had some issues with the contractor getting the bonding back. They were supposed to start in July. The steel has already been ordered, apparently, and is ready to be delivered. So as soon as we sign this contract, we will be reaching out to them to see when their anticipated start date is. Their late start date is August, but as you guys saw on the A07 bridge, the projects only take approximately 30 days. So even if they start late to mid-August, that still hasn't been a completion window before the end of the year. Okay.
So you're saying that will be completed before the September then?
Well, if they start with the T31 structure, it would easily be completed in September. HP 51 is a little bit more of a larger structure, so they may complete the structure, but that one does not have a prefabricated deck, and so we'd have to wait the 30-day cure period after the bridge is constructed before we could backfill it. And so it could push into November before we start backfilling it. The county is responsible on these structures. The contractor removes the existing structure and disposes of it, builds the new structure, but the county does have to backfill the structure and do the grading work on these gravel roads as a cost savings measure.
Okay. So taking into account that's right in the middle of our winter, and we could be getting some inclement weather. That's not going to hold up anything.
No, that will not stop these bridges from being constructed.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Is there any more questions? So we'll go ahead and vote. Commissioner Culberson.
Well, question.
Oh, go ahead.
What's the traffic count on HP 51 daily? Do you know?
I'd have to be speculating. I know I've looked at it with you in the past, but I don't know off the top of my head.
6.
6?
I don't remember it being quite that low, but it was a lower traffic count roadway.
So, how low?
Oh, I know where this is going.
I don't know how low.
So you don't. So you don't
50,
pay.
60. I thought it was closer to 50, but I could be completely wrong.
Okay, it's under 50. So we're paving roads based on traffic count, or not paving roads based on traffic count. And the reason I'm bringing this up is 20, 30 years of past commissioners have cut depreciation money for bridges. We should be replacing 4 bridges a year to keep up. You have 150 bridges, they last 50 years. You need to replace 3 every year. We haven't been doing that. Before I started, they weren't hardly replacing any bridges.
Yep.
We're going to get to a point where we're going to have to start shutting bridges down. If you don't start looking at that now, you're going to replace a 6 to 50 traffic count bridge for $500,000. But then when in 20 years, when 50 bridges all of a sudden come due, you spent your money on bridges that had 6 cars a day. But at that point, you're going to have to shut down bridges that have 1,000 cars a day because you just don't have the money to do them. So the reason I'm bringing this up is you guys need to start looking at which bridges you want to close. I think HP 51 is the perfect candidate. That's all I got.
Okay, so voting. Commissioner Culberson.
No.
Aye.
Yeah, fantastic argument there, Commissioner Culberson.
It's just facts. There's no way we're not going to hit a point where a whole bunch of ask Bill. Have we been replacing as many bridges as we should have been doing for the last 20 years?
Over the last 20 years, we have not. Over the last 6 years, we have been trying to do some catching up.
But that 20 years is going to be really hard to catch up. I think we're going to reach a point where a bunch of bridges go bad at the same time. And you can't do 3 bridges, 4 bridges out of the budget we've got in any given year, let alone 10 or 20.
I will state that this bridge was discussed in the CIP, and I think Commissioner Culberson brought up these points during that discussion, and that's when we did research the traffic counts. I think ultimately at the time the board decided that it was a connecting link roadway between Tonganoxie Drive and 187th Street, with an area that could potentially have future subdivisions and residential development in that area between Lansing and Tonganoxie or Pacer. And I think that was what had driven it. We have looked at road closures and bridges that could be phased out and what the detour lengths would be. But to date, we have not made any determination to close any roads. But I'll take whatever direction and action the board does and move forward with that.
So I'm going to get us back procedurally. We're in the middle of a vote.
Yeah.
So
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
Aye.
There you go. What do we got next?
Can I ask a question before we go on?
Yes.
Bill, what bridges would we start working on next? Where should we go with the funds that we anticipate having or have present? Where should we be going to fix those bridges to not be as catastrophic as it appears?
Well, what we look at many factors as part of the CIP discussions. Primarily, we start with what bridges. Almost every road in the county is used as a bus route, so we use that as a baseline measurement of what bridges are at a load rating that they are potential to drop below the 10-ton weight limit that a bridge could pass, and we use that as our first criteria: is where are we at on these bridges. Secondarily to that, we look at traffic counts. So if you have more bridges than can be replaced in a single season, or we have a couple bridges, we look at the traffic count of the roadway. So what impact would it have if that bridge would be closed? So the higher traffic roadway would be prioritized over the lower traffic if both the bridges were equal. And then we look at the type of bridge structure. Some bridges can have a 14-ton weight limit, and they consider that 14-ton weight limit based on their condition for a decade or more, and they don't really go down very quickly. They weren't built very strong to start with, and so therefore they aren't as old, or they don't have any issues with pitting or rusting of the metal or the concrete's falling. And so there are other structures that maybe were built with used steel in the 1970s, and they degrade very quickly. So when they start to drop and you start to have section loss of your beams, they're going to continuously take every biennial inspection is going to see a drop. And so we look at how long will that bridge stay at 14 tons, what is the traffic count, and what is the load rating future look like for that structure. So we've been prioritizing them to keep all of them open to bus traffic.
So what I'm getting to would it be advisable for us as a board to have a session on which ones should be done? Because it sounds like that we're going to be in some serious trouble here with the traffic count of a bridge for being 6 and a bridge for being 126 or 500.
Well, currently under current funding, Mark and I discussed this as part of the preparation before I presented the budget. We are funding bridges at a rate currently that isn't maybe going to make up for the past 20 years, but we are putting in these lower cost bridges that do have a little bit shorter lifespan than a concrete structure, but we don't have a date really sitting out there where we're going to have to knowingly walk into a closure of 5 roads. We have T-beam bridges, and we had like E58 where we do have the 6-inch deck. We have the bottoms falling out, but we could end up with a closure that we weren't aware of getting ready to occur. But we should have some serious discussions about both bridges and asphalt preservation, because where we don't have nearly the funding set aside for is if an asphalt roadway lifespan is projected to be 20 years, we don't have a 20-year maintenance cycle replacement schedule for asphalt because of funding. Now, we did implement some mill and overlays into this current CIP, but we have hundreds of miles of asphalt, and I think we have maybe 7 miles of mill and overlay new asphalt. That's why you see the crews out like what we're doing right now, trying to mill off some of those areas that have slid or have high spots and putting in patching. So I think it's a combination of the two. We need to both look at bridges and asphalt, because it's, I guess you can drive down a road that the asphalt is severely degraded on carefully, and you can't drive down a closed bridge. But at the same time, we do have a substantial need for a lot of asphalt preservation.
And someone's going to add to that, Willie. So we get an inspection on all our bridges, and we get a report from that contractor that does the inspections, and they kind of give us an idea how much longer each bridge is good for. The Tonganoxie Bridge that we just patched, that had a hole in it a couple months ago. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one straight.
Do you know what the report was on that as far as the inspection and the condition?
Yeah, the bridge was considered, the bridge deck was poor, and that's the unique thing about, it was rated 4, which 4 is a very low 4 out of 10 rating on the deck. The issue with the T-beam bridge is the substructure, the columns that hold it up, they were rated 8. So if you look at the overall rating of the bridge, it was still fairly high, but the deck is only 6 inches thick, so when the deck fails, the bridge fails, and you can't replace the deck on the bridge. They were a low-cost solution from maybe the 60s, but it was, overall rating was probably in the 70s, because the substructure is still in fine shape. It's the deck, and then once the deck fails, you can't replace it.
And another example is Millwood Bridge. When I started, the report said we had another 10 years easy on Millwood Bridge. And it failed with a big hole in it.
Yeah.
So we had to shut it down for 3 years.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we repaired it and it failed.
Yeah. Said we're good to go for a while longer, but it failed. Same with Tonga Bridge. So my point is...
It failed. It wasn't on our schedule to be replaced because it's still, the inspection that we had done said it still had life in it. Then it failed, and we had to design it and completely replace it. So we didn't repair it, and then it failed. It just failed.
Yeah.
It failed. Okay.
So we changed companies too, and who inspects our bridges, because we
we
had one that really
that was,
let us down.
And that was one of the issues, is that inspector did a very bad job. But even with those reports, and even with a good inspector, my point is, when they tell you got 10 more years on this bridge, you don't really know that. When you start getting down to the last 10 or 20 years, it could happen today. So we're getting to a situation, and I know Bill and Mark are trying to be positive about this, but I'm telling you, we need the work session like you just suggested.
We need to take that money we're going to give up in Easton on streets, and we need to throw that right in the...
You already did. You already did.
I'm only kind of helped out.
You already did.
Okay, so I think that when you have decided, okay, without our input, that you were going to stick around, I think that you owe us another 4 years.
I
can look at
that. I cannot.
So you got to hold off the beaches for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay.
That water looks good.
Let's go on.
Water looks good.
I need a break before I break.
Just a point on all this is that in the last 2 fiscal years, we've added about $1.2 million to the road and bridge budget.
It's only we should have added $5 million.
Well, I mean, exactly, you can only do what you can do. But
exactly right.
Yeah,
you're both right.
But
you're both right.
It's a substantial amount.
What we should have done and what we can do are two different things.
Right.
And the pricing of them now. Anyway.
My dad had a saying, I know it ain't your fault, but it's your problem.
Yep.
He's right about everything.
I heard that before. Okay, let's go on. Okay.
I have one more.
Yeah, you got one more.
Consider a motion to, go ahead, you read it.
Consider a motion to accept the bid from Foley Equipment for the purchase of a trench roller in the amount of $37,000.
Is there a second? Second. All right, now go ahead.
Today for your consideration is a trench roller. We bid these products.
What do you
We had three bids. I think this is a great example of why we bid items that are already on a government contract. All three of these were on government contracts that you could have pulled from different sources, but we went ahead and bid them, and we found the lowest price available out there on the market.
Aye. Make a motion.
Go ahead. The motion's on. Go ahead.
That we accept the bid from Foley Equipment.
Well, we already have the motion. We're ready for you to vote yes.
Aye.
Yeah.
I thought you did.
Aye.
Too long, Joe. It's too long.
Unanimous?
Yeah.
Unanimous. All right. I think that takes care of everything that's on the list. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
And
We'll
now,
be calling on you.
What's that?
We'll be calling on you.
Okay.
I know I will be.
I'll be in the basement.
Okay.
President.
All right. We'll be in the basement too.
In the dungeon. Presentation discussion items, Commissioner Culberson. Go ahead.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
I don't know.
Nothing. That's all I got to say.
That it? Or is there a motion to adjourn? Wait a minute. Executive session? No.
No.
Public comments. Is there any further public comments? Come on down, Wes.
Wes wants to talk. He's been waiting patiently.
I like that guy. Yeah.
Well, you're
I do
lucky
too.
because I usually forget the end of public comments.
So I spoke earlier about decision making, and I put together some more comments I wanted to make, but unfortunately it can't be utilized because the vote's already been made. I'm talking about the sand pit disaster. The attorney made a great presentation, including rhetoric and a lot of charm. And it has different effects on different people. Some people dive differently into research and what their capacity is to understand technical issues and science and things like this. And as the world evolves, science and technology become more and more critical to everyday life. And people that typically make decisions in science and technology are science and technology people. I just don't know how well the county is equipped to make decisions if they don't know the right questions to ask to get the right answers. So there's a lot of research required in technical and science projects, so to speak. If the right questions aren't asked, things can come back and bite us in the rear. So I've got that concern about technical support. And there was a comment made by the attorney. His response was speculation. Well, that's interesting because you have an attorney selling non-technical people on something that's very highly technical and huge impact to the environment and people. I didn't hear the right questions asked. I didn't hear the right questions asked because the right people don't have the knowledge to ask the right questions. And I'm not here to insult anybody. It's just a fact. There are no engineers or scientists on the board. Damn. How do you all figure out what's going on if you don't know the right questions? These guys are polished. Can't say that all around. They're selling you, and they sold you. They broke you down. They told you what you wanted to hear, all nice, fluffy. And then, when the findings are read, when the board findings are read for 30 minutes of negative content, 95% negative content, you vote the opposite. What about the people? You guys work for the people. It's their will, not your will. What the hell are you doing? Is this democracy? No. No democracy in this room. You don't listen to the people. You vote your wills. Whether it's influenced by promotion, politics, who knows what makes you guys tick. You've missed the boat. Find somebody that can ask the right questions when the event comes up so that you cover for the people. They elected you, you work for the people, you're not representing the people. You're representing your wills. Once the environment is sacrificed, what's Call Valley going to do? They're going to offer somebody some water. Oh boy. What if all the wells are poisoned? What are they going to do? What if the aquifer's poisoned? What are they going to do? Huh? Nobody asked that question. Foolishness. Absolutely foolishness. Undemocratic process. You know, the economic lingo term gets thrown around a lot. Gets a lot of attention. A lot of hyperbole. And if it doesn't happen, you know what? Our lifestyles are going to be the same, if not better, because it wasn't affected negatively. And we'll all live to make the future much more pleasant. Wrong decisions have long-lasting negative comments. And when
Thank you, sir.
decisions... So...
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wes.
I don't see anybody else who wants to make public comments. So there's an opportunity to have a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
Okay.
We're still good. We're going
to go to budget session here. 5 minutes.